So yes, cancel. Yes, a lot has happened since you've been here.
It looks pretty legit.
It's getting there, right?
Yeah, last time we podcast was like last month. I'm sticking to the once a month so we can do something fun.
All right.
But the tiles were falling off.
So we were. It was the first time.
Yeah, and it was hilarious.
It was the first time I put the tiles on, and we were just talking, and Jess just. I guess you were watching. I didn't even know they fell. They were like bunk, bunk.
One just fell a few minutes ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And we were just talking about the progression of
that one. There was
the first show. We were talking about the progression.
I know, right, dude? Yeah, It was. We had the backdrops of our my wakeboard and my skateboard against the closet. Now it's like, hey, we've come a long way. Like we're like legit. Hey,
and as you said
like
that,
dorm room anymore.
No. As you said that, all the tiles were falling off. I was like, yeah, we're getting...
We've been dealing with that. Okay, so today's February 22nd.
Yes.
All right, Jeanette got me this book for Christmas, and this is becoming like a tradition.
Okay.
And it's like this day in history.
Yes.
And it's kind of interesting. I try to go through and find the interesting ones. So, like, February 22nd, 1371, Robert II is crowned King of Scotland. Okay. Galileo published his dialogue, which the Pope wanted to kill him for. And that was 1632.
What was the deal with Robert in Scotland?
Robert's father-in-law was Robert the Bruce. When they, the Mel Gibson,
Right.
Braveheart. So this is Robert's father-in-law was Robert the Bruce. Robert II established the Royal House of Stuart and resumed the Scottish War for Independence. He ruled Scotland until his death in 1390. That was the line of Queen Elizabeth, I believe, or one of the most current queens was a Stuart.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what started the current line, which goes all the way up to now. 1632, Galileo published his dialogue today, which was a forbidden book. The solar system went around the sun.
Yeah, the world didn't revolve around the Earth. Yeah.
The world's not flat. Well, no,
the universe didn't revolve around Earth.
I think that was a Christopher Columbus thing that the world wasn't flat.
Yeah.
Well, that was 1632, dude. I was not even a child in my grandparents' sack. Like I was, I don't even think my granddad was a child in his granddad's side. Yeah, we were super non-existent. Okay, I don't know what this is. 1819, the Adams on East Treaty is signed. I don't know what this is. Under the terms of the treaty, the United States acquired Florida from Spain for $5 million. Wow, $5 million in 1819. That's a lot now. That's got to be like 20 million now, if not more. But yeah, so 1819, the treaty was signed today that gave Florida to the United States. Welcome aboard, Florida. I didn't know that. I thought I knew everything. 1856, the Republican Party holds its first convention in Pittsburgh. That's curious because I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. Okay. Many of whom were former Free Soil and Whig Party members elected John Fremont to run in 1956. Okay, that's free labor, free land, free men. Okay. 1879, Frank Woolworth opened his first 5-and-dime store in Utica, New York. Utica, yeah, and that's the Woolworth stores.
Woolsworth.
That used to be like 5-and-dime. That was like the very first like Walmart. Yeah. Back when they were called, like when Walmart was called 5-and-dime store.
I remember that when I was a little girl. Woolsworth,
yeah.
Yeah, they usually have a little sandwich shop. And
did they really? I don't even know if they exist anymore.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid in Ohio, there was a Woolworth like in Minerva or something.
So like any of our 5 listeners, if you're below the age of 30, you probably have never heard of a Woolworth. Maybe there's like one random one open somewhere still.
From Oh Brother Where Art Thou? One
I know.
Got thrown out of the Woolworth.
Okay, yeah, they might know it then if they watched that movie. That's interesting. 1915. Okay, modern day. Imperial German Navy begins its U-boat campaign in the Atlantic today in 1950. That's World War I. Interesting.
1950?
Yeah, 1915. 15. Yeah. Okay, 1980. Very modern. The Miracle on Ice. Do you guys know what the Miracle on Ice? That's what 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, New York. The United States men's hockey team defeated the heavily favored. Russell Crowe was in that movie.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
One, yeah.
That happened today in 1980 in the Winter Olympics. That was like, the depth of the Cold War, and we beat them at their own game. That was like a big deal.
Dang, I want to watch that movie again.
Oh, wow. Here's a crazy modern one. 1994, Aldrich Ames, that doesn't ring a bell, is charged for spying for the Soviet Union and Russia. Ames, an officer in the CIA, began selling secrets to contacts in Soviet embassy in 1985. Over the next 9 years, he was paid $4.6 million for intelligence by the Soviet and later Russian Federation. Ames came under suspicion because of his lavish spending beyond what his salary could support. He was sentenced to life without parole. Wow. Wow, that's like modern day, like James Bond stuff right there. Like, holy smokes.
I see it.
Yeah, check it out, man. So I'm a classic Pisces person. So you know what a classic Pisces person is? You look your own birthday up first before anything else. Not that I know anything about the zodiac or anything like that. So we're live. We're back. We are back. We've been running continuously almost every week. I think we took a week off last week, but I've been running continuously almost weekly now. So we're like, I feel like we're getting like semi-professional. We're like, getting there. Maybe a little bit. Maybe. I mean, we probably drink too much and all that stuff. But anyways, welcome back, guys. February 22nd. Man, I feel like so much has been going on. It's just been ridiculously stupid. Happy post-Valentine's Day.
Happy post-Valentine's Day.
Can we just find the fucker, the jerk, the jerk that came up with that holiday? Like,
why you don't like it? I think it's great.
It was the president of Hallmark Cards.
Oh, was he? Is that real?
No. Valentine's Day was an invented holiday because there was a lull in the gift card industry between Christmas and Mother's Day.
So did he come up? Did he research the story about Saint Valentine's and all that, or is that like real? Do you think, or
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of like, but it's because there's a whole Saint Valentine and all that about secret love or something or another. But yeah, like what the hell? Because
and then Al Capone and the Valentine's Day Massacre. I mean, that's about it.
That's about it, right? But as you get older and you get like a real job, you're no longer in college and all that. You get a girlfriend, you actually start spending money, and you're like, Jesus. Then you start buying jewelry and.
Sounds like a nightmare for you all.
No. Let me tell you, Jeanette. For men, it's a nightmare.
It sounds like a nightmare.
And then you give her a teddy bear and maybe some simple flowers. She goes, "Oh, thank you." And you kind of see the look of disappointment on her face, and she says, "Oh, that's really nice. How thoughtful."
I had a good Valentine's Day once, and it was very super simple. It was so cute.
Oh yeah, please do tell.
Yes,
you do not have to name drop, but if there's any of the one of the 5 guys that follow us, which is probably all guys, I can't think any women smart enough or not smart enough to listen to us.
Dang.
Smart enough to not listen.
Not smart enough to not listen to us. Yeah, but please do tell, guys. Take notes.
So I was in high school. This was really sweet. He came
Young
with
Jeanette.
some chocolates
and
a teddy bear, and then he said, we're going to go take a day trip. So we went to the mountains, and we grilled out in the mountains. We built a fire, had steak, did all the little fixings, had cheesecake, and we got shit-faced off of Jack Daniels.
So what you're saying, simple is better.
Simple is better. Don't overthink it.
So
it's just about
you
maybe
got that really bad sunburn because you were naked out in the woods.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So for Valentine's Day,
passed out naked.
I shipped more things overseas for Valentine's Day, and I remember once I shipped a big bouquet of roses. And they showed up like half dried, half wilted. Like one of the bouquets, that they do in Mexico, like the big bouquets, like $200 you pay like $80 for, or maybe like $100 for, but it's like 200 roses, the big, and it showed up like half like wilted and half, and I called them, I was like, what the hell is that? The best Spanish I could do, like, get pinchy, da da da. So they took another one even bigger the next day.
Wow.
And so talk about winning me brownie points. I mean, like, Hands down. I cannot knock customer service anywhere. Like anywhere you buy anything, customer service is like just awesome. Like you go to Mexico, customer service is awesome. You go to Colombia, customer service is awesome. Customer service is awesome. Like I can. Like, yeah, so, like, talk about making you, like, the bomb, right? Like, I sent one to, like, a South American country once, and, like, a big teddy bear. Like, well, that was really nice, but, since you spent, like, a lot of money, and I maybe spent, like, $100. Like, we got, like, the bigger one. It's, like, an 8-foot one. And then we sent, like, a bigger bouquet of flowers. And then we sent, like, champagne with it. I was like,
wow.
And they took pictures and sent it all and everything. I was like, took a video of it and everything. I was like, all right, well, way to go, guys! Like that's like legit.
That is
like
legit.
Like I know, right? Like
I know.
And I know it's a different country, different economy, everything. You pay $200 here, you're gonna get like a nice 24 roses, a vase.
Yeah,
That doesn't.
if you go to Albertsons the week of Valentine's Day,
And they have beautiful
that
bouquets at
$12
Albertsons.
Albertsons are the
$12
ones that are
dozen
better.
roses is $45-$50.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No,
Valentine's
if you buy the one in the vase that's built up, you're gonna pay $200 for it. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. They're big roses.
You know what I thought was even more amazing?
What's that?
The wooden roses you can buy at the man store, the Lowe's or like the Home Depot. They had wooden roses.
So even Home Depot's
And I was
getting out of
even,
it.
and I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, how impressed would that be to have like a really pretty like wooden rose? It's not gonna die. I thought it was
That's
freaking
kind of
cool.
cool. It's like the chocolate.
I thought it was
It's like the
freaking
chocolate
cool.
roses. That's kind of cool. That's kind of interesting, right?
I know.
Okay.
A wooden rose.
No. So once I was trying to impress a girl, and I don't remember who or where or anything anymore. I don't remember the details, but I remember like she was living alone and she was trying to make like an IKEA something or another. And so I had for Valentine's Day, I had like a pink toolbox set that I got on Amazon with a pink helmet and pink tools and everything. And it was like the coolest thing. So I mean, it may or may not have gotten me some action that night. I mean, well, I don't remember. I don't remember if I traveled. I just remember getting it, and I remember getting a picture on my phone of her wearing like the pink hard hat too. I just don't think I don't remember where it was too. Like it was so long ago. Like after a while, they all kind of blend in. You know what I mean? So when you tell stories, and like you're telling a story to like the person like that maybe like that you're with now, you have to like think about like, did I do that for you? Like, was this your story? Maybe I better not. So now it's like, no, I'm not.
You don't know what to
it's
say.
like, yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that. Yeah, you just
You
don't
just
say
don't
anything.
tell stories about previous relationships.
But sometimes it's like when the time frame gets really tight, like maybe you were like dating others or whatever. It's like, did I do that for you? No, I'm just not telling my stories. Those are mine. No,
Those are my stories.
Those are going to the grave with me. But yeah, like Valentine's Day is getting nuts, man. Like then jewelry.
And with all the oppression in South Africa and all the enslaved peoples,
Dude,
going after diamonds, I just refuse. I can't support the diamond industry at all anymore.
did you ever see that
That's
meme?
my excuse.
Oh, I haven't seen it. And then
The blood
the girl's
diamonds
like,
and, yeah.
oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll never ask for a diamond.
Do you ever how De Beers, the diamond company, they had that the ad campaign where it showed just the silhouettes and you would only see the diamond, where you see the silhouette of the guy giving her like a ring and you would just see the diamond and her getting it. There was a meme with that De Beers campaign, and it just says like diamonds, the girl's best friend on it, on the meme, and it just shows a silhouette of him and a silhouette of her on her knees.
Oh my God.
I was like, I'm sold. I am sold.
I
Yes.
haven't seen that one.
Yeah, we may be like dating ourselves on age when we tell those stories, but yeah.
I'm okay with that though.
That's good.
It's okay.
It's good stuff, right? So, anyways, what's been going on? Like, what's been going on? What's anything coming up lately that's kind of caught your attention? I know there's a lot in the news, but anything that stands out right now?
Price of eggs is going up again.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change anytime
Yeah.
soon. No matter what the current president does right now, his policies won't make a big impact on us for another year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't see anything changing. That's just a reality of what the hand that he's dealt with coming in. But man, the stuff coming out of the new presidential campaign.
I think that's probably where it all comes down, is that people are just feeling the pressure of the economy. It's like,
Yeah.
that's all I hear every single day.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm like, oh my God, I went to the store and I bought like 5 things and it costed this. And I'm like, yeah.
So why are people in Congress pushing back against the Trump campaign wanting to give giving a check to Americans for the money that they're saving? They're talking about like we have about $20 billion we save, which is actually more than 20 billion, because the Office of something management that does like all the financing, they say, okay, we finance this agency with this much money for this year, but we're also like budgeting this much more for them. So when they say that it's actually like $20 billion that they saved, there's actually more to it because you have the money that comes behind it in addition to what they're finding right now. So when they're saying 20 billion now, it could tentatively be like 40 or 60 billion. But you have to like get into the financials of it, of like what's being budgeted for the next years as well.
Yeah.
That money's being allocated. But they're talking about like giving 20% of that money back to Americans, which when you do the math on it, it's like around $150, $200 check for every American right now. Which, like people we
wouldn't
deal
mind.
with, yeah,
I wouldn't mind
$20, man,
extra.
that would
Come
be 2 weeks of groceries. That would
Yeah,
help.
it
That
is.
could help people out.
Yeah, it
that's
could
that's
help.
that's doing
It's
good to
gas.
help people. You know what I mean?
Gas money, that's
putting
I don't
another
know.
20%
not
to
a lot.
the budget, and then they're trying to figure out what's going on with the other 60%. But I think they're just not sure of how much total money it is, but that they've already uncovered so far. And I was listening to more about that, about the Social Security Department. That first of all, there's 7 lawsuits against Doge for what they're doing from states.
Against who?
Doge. Which, if it's against Doge, it's going to be against President Trump because he's the president right now. That's a federal agency. But all 7 federal, the 7 federal, what do you call it, cases
that went
that
down
were
like
brought
water.
up, that were brought against them to stop what they were doing. The federal courts struck them all down. They said, no, that what they're doing is within their means of what they're supposed to be doing. So people getting pissed off that they're actually looking into money right now. Why the hell are we getting pissed off about that?
Yeah, we shouldn't be pissed off about getting rid of $800 hammers.
No, not at all. Right? Wasn't that was like in the 80s, wasn't
Right,
it?
but it's essentially the same concept.
It's the same concept, though, right?
The obscene waste.
Obscene waste, and so it's
I mean, it's like if your personal finances start running tight, you start going through all your subscriptions. Well, we don't need Paramount. We don't need this, and we don't need to spend money on this. And you start reining in.
You
when you're
don't rein
spending.
in OnlyFans. You're helping putting girls through college.
You gotta help those girls through college.
What with college?
And, I mean, their kids need to eat too.
They need to eat too.
And so, I mean, those poor single moms. But
I support
you start
them.
reining in what
a
you're
feminist.
spending your money on.
Yeah.
And so if you have this huge deficit, go look at where you're wasting money. That makes total sense.
So right
Total
now
sense.
on the books, the oldest person alive right now on the books is well, you have that. The oldest person on the books right now is 116 years old.
Yeah.
116. So when they're right now that they're auditing the Social Security Administration, they're making payments to people that are 140 years old.
Wow. It's
And-
expensive to live long.
No. But do you get what I'm saying? Like right
They're
now,
still paying people that
the
are
oldest,
like-
the oldest living person right now.
They're anticipating Social Security's.
No,
what are you saying?
you're not getting this. Whatever
Okay.
you had.
They're paying out people who are dead.
Yeah,
147
Oh my God.
years old.
yeah.
You freaking-
There's nobody alive right now that's 140 years old.
I
Technology's
was
not
hopeful.
there yet.
I was hopeful that someone was 116.
You were.
I was like, wow, that's so amazing.
You were really.
I was like,
you
I
were
don't
reaching
wanna,
there. You were.
I was like, I don't want to live that long.
You know, if they
too
could take my
much.
brain out and put it in the computer and later implant it into like a young Asian guy that's fit and successful later, I might be down for that.
Asian?
Well,
Because of the.
no, I
I went there too. I
didn't
went
know
there
what the
too.
Asian connection was.
Oh, well.
just thought
I
it
was like, but why do you want to
it
do
might
that
be an
to
improvement
yourself?
for me. I don't know. No. What it is because in China they harvest Chinese people for organs and all that.
okay.
They might harvest Chinese people for brain transplants later on when technology gets there. That's what I'm getting at. That's why Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Our laws won't let us harvest our own people to do that. We'll just harvest other people.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. $140 Social Security checks going out to people at 140 years old.
Wow.
Not $140, but checks to 100 people 140 years. Who in the hell is taking that money? Like, are they going to go after
Someone's
that?
going to have to be accountable for that. If you have been taking a dead person's Social Security money, you owe that.
Yeah, somebody has to go to jail.
You got to go to
That
jail.
person is like 80 years old, so if they go to jail, maybe they're not going to make it that long anyway.
No, the way I look at
I
it,
mean, think about 140. Who would be that person who'd do that?
It's
It happened
gotta
a
be
long time ago.
Would it be the kids? Would it be the grandkids?
Yeah,
that's
and they're, like,
cashing those
freaking
checks?
old.
Somebody is cashing those checks illegally. But here's the thing: who's working
There's-
at the Social Security Administration that's going to be accountable? That we paid this. Yes, we are going to go to jail. You know what I mean? Like somebody, a number of people have to go to jail for that. That's just the bottom
A
line.
number of people. There's only one person. He's probably already dead.
Who's
or
that?
she's already dead.
I know, right?
Well, also, too, like, the fact of the matter that whoever is allowing that to happen, is there, like, no checks and balances? There's nothing.
There's nothing.
You're right.
Yeah.
Capitalism
Capitalism.
It's like,
Hey,
okay,
you know what though?
Gotta love it.
Capitalism is what's has driven technology and modern health, modern food industry to feed a lot of people. Capitalism brought that. Now there's a lot of really big.
It also brought the other stuff.
Yeah, it brings the other stuff too. Yeah, but and that probably goes with rapid growth. There's always a lot of stupid stuff because you think about over 100 years, that much growth. That's rapid growth in terms of the civilization. You know what I mean?
And what was it? I read something up until, 200 years ago?
wow.
Yay!
Everybody's main focus in work and survival was in food production or in some sort of eating or distributing food. Well, now that's not the thing, and we're focusing on other things that's becoming technology. And it's just kind of a weird situation as far as...
Because you're not having to focus on feed the family now.
You don't have to focus on feeding the family because that's just kind of happening.
It's happening. But that's the miracle of modern everything, right? It lets people get educated.
We don't like those big companies that are pushing...
But everybody loves their iPhone. Everybody loves TikTok. Well, if you didn't have people that were free to do that... Because they don't have to worry about making food, go hunting a deer. They can do that now. That's just civilization growth, right? Now, can we get through all this? That's the question, right? That's like the big threat. Like, will civilization eventually kill itself? Right?
Kill itself or get dumber because
nobody... like idiocracy.
Like
idiocracy.
It just became, like it just makes you dumb.
We're not in the top 10 list of the smartest countries. China is up there.
No, we're up there too. We are. I mean,
it doesn't feel that way, does it?
because we're not. It doesn't feel that way because we're not the smartest ones. Do you know what I mean?
Let me Google that.
Yeah, I just saw it too.
So,
what are the top 10 smartest?
But if you bully other kids to have them do your homework, is that not smart?
Here we go. Top 16. I think we got Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, South Korea.
See, we're not.
Wow.
Belarus.
We're not smart.
Finland, Liechtenstein,
we're
Germany,
just delegators.
Netherlands,
is that
Estonia.
Hold on, is that Liechtenstein or Liechtenstein?
You see, that's why we're dumb.
What was the movie? What was the movie Liechtenstein?
That was I loved it.
The movie The Night where he
yeah.
Liechtenstein.
That was a good movie.
I freaking love that.
A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale. I freaking love that movie. But yeah.
Died.
Dude, I believe Americans are smart. Maybe not all of us.
But we're not in the top 16 list.
Where's India on that list?
India's not on it either. And
India is like the most popular, second or first most populous country in the world. Maybe it's a numbers game. I don't know. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a numbers game. I love Hormel chips and crackers. If Hormel wants to sponsor me because I love their crackers so much.
How did it start?
I still think you need to get that Uber sponsorship for this.
I know, right?
This podcast is brought to you by Uber.
I know. We couldn't get here. Then when we left, we couldn't walk out.
Helping friends get home safely.
Hey, cheers. Here's to you guys.
Cheers. Salud.
Salud. And always, I have to put this out there. Join us for a drink and have a good conversation. Drink responsibly. And also, I have to throw this out there. In no ways, in my opinion, representative of any organization or anybody. These are my own opinions.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say that. Yeah.
I think I completely agree on that. This is my own opinion. Nothing to do with. It's not an affiliation with anybody.
Jeanette works at this place and she does these things. So if you
way to throw me under the bus, man.
Just don't be plugging your OnlyFans page.
But please look up # Mark.
My OnlyFans, please.
You'll see what's below my unicorn shirt.
Yeah, my OnlyFans is probably very super offensive. I'm going to show you a cat picture, not my kitty.
Just sometimes I just have to just not say anything.
I've always threatened to put my feet on OnlyFans.
3 cats.
And this is a test. I should do that. I should put my feet on OnlyFans.
I think there's a market for everything. And you know what I should do? Dip it in marinara sauce. Someone's going to love it.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. No, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do like figure
Salsa.
out different themes for feet.
Different sauces. It's
like
it's,
marinara,
and then it's gonna be called
fettuccine.
saucy.
Oh yeah.
Saucy.
Or you could just do it where you're picking up holding flounces and putting them in.
And just slowly, kind of run your toes in there real slowly, stir it up.
People like weird stuff, and they like gross stuff too, and that, I mean, there's a market for anything.
And I'll just do a close-up video where I'm just clipping my own toenails, nice and slowly, dude.
Nice and slowly,
dude. I should test this theory, and if I came back next week and be like, guys, my OnlyFans page really went really well. I'm retiring now, so I just bought a beach in the Bahamas. You're all invited to come over. I just need pictures of your feet.
Well, I've told you why men have a foot fetish, haven't I?
What?
No, I'm curious.
I'm curious too.
Well, it's because their first true love was a gym sock.
Yes, I do remember that.
Oh. Wow, it makes total sense now.
Oh my God, that's so hilarious.
How come is there not a product out there for like a tube sock that's perfect, like just used for that?
That's like a waterproof tube sock that's ribbed for your comfort, but yet it holds everything in, so like no mess.
Is there like no product out there for that yet? Can we just sew one right today and
because the construction worker could wear it too, like he's going to be out working and he needs like a really good comfortable tube sock when he's working that the sweat doesn't soak his shoes, and then you can go home and you can reuse. I mean, like it the applications of it are endless.
Pocket sock.
Yeah, I mean there's a pocket.
It doesn't get stained by water-soluble
There's
solutions.
there's the fleshlight one. I mean, if there's a market for flashlights
Fleshlight.
Yeah, have you heard of those, right?
Oh.
Are you serious? You've never heard? It's like a big thing.
The flashlight.
So there's flashlights, and the flashlight has at the tip of it, there's no light bulb. It's the body of a flashlight, and the end of it has a woman's. I guess can I say vagina? Is
yes,
that right?
you can say vagina.
Okay, so it's got a woman's vagina on it, and so what happens is they pay porn stars to get a mold of their vaginas, and they'll sell like the Jenna Jameson fleshlight. They'll send like the Pamela Anderson one, like it's like a thing, and it's called the fleshlight, and it's the body and everything of a flashlight. Yeah. They it's been on all sorts of podcasts, and they'll show them like, look at this fleshlight, and they're like, that looks legit.
And like there's like, I think you could do like a towel purposely just for cleanup.
What do you mean?
I mean,
like a towel specifically for
cleanup after.
Oh, does that come? Maybe the fleshlight comes in a box with your own customized towel.
I don't know. I feel like there's a market for like.
There's a market for everything. You know what?
I'm full of ideas. Let me just shut up because
you know what? I
gotta market this.
I'm always my thesis has always been such that I feel like you can make money helping people, and I feel like somehow keeping that, like you put something in your mind, the universe brings it to you, and I feel like we've gotten to a place where we help people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and we make a good living doing it, and it's very beneficial for a lot of people. So I think if we put this idea out there in the universe, I think this whole foot thing, this whole tube sock thing, I think it's going to pay off dividends. I mean, if we can make a backyard podcast happen out of a laptop and $10 Chinese mics and get to this where we're at now, I think
anything's
possible.
The pinnacle of success.
I know, right?
All the tiles come falling.
We
made it, guys. We freaking made it.
We made it.
I'm just glad they're foam because they don't hurt when they hit you in the head.
I know, right? And that was every day I'd come in here and a different one would come down. I'd be like, adhesive tape. Somebody make a better adhesive tape, damn it.
Damn these command strips, they're not working.
You go hot gluing them to the wall. Now you
I know, right? Well, women use double-sided tape for their blouses and when they go out.
It could stay on.
Strapless blouses and all that, right?
It could stay on.
And a woman was complaining about it because they're not comfortable, or when you start sweating, they come unstuck and all that.
Oh, so that woman did the glue.
She did like a glue.
Yeah.
And she sells this. I actually saw it in the Shark Tank. Yeah. And her thing was it's like organically safe, this glue, and you just put it on your body. It's safe for you. It doesn't come unstuck. It's water soluble, but at the same time it won't come off if you sweat. Supply and demand, right? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a 10-second pause and just kind of close the door real fast.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You heard the dogs.
Oh, I do. little fuckers.
So you heard the dogs.
I know, right? And then I do that and I knock everything down. Like, no.
No. That little lamp, though, that is pretty legit. The Christmas story lamp. The leg lamp, yeah.
It's Italian.
It's Italian.
Fragile.
That's from,
I like it.
well, there's a story behind that lamp now. There is a story behind my lamp.
I love the lamp. It's very
You know.
freaking cool.
There we go. I know, right?
Yes.
There we go. We're live. Okay, so yeah, so the universe will provide, Jeanette.
All right.
Okay, so anyway, just a lot of crazy stuff going on. So that's been my biggest thing. So like, my biggest thing is trying to understand progressives, conservatives, and liberals. And I come to realize there are different things. So I've kind of gone down this thing trying to understand what it is. So do you know like a conservative and a liberal, which here is like right and left, kind of like different policies and the governmental, how you feel about stuff, right? Mm-hmm. If you go to anywhere else in the world, a conservative and a liberal is different. So like if you go down like South America, if you're conservative, it means you're all for having like a strong federal government, very centralized. And if you're left, it means you're very you're more for like state governments. And people get really violent about this idea, like whether you're a conservative, you're for like strong central governments, or whether you're more liberal and you're like for very weak central governments. And so say like the whole Colombian Civil War was like in the 70s and 80s, and it goes way beyond that too. That all had to do with like the left, people from the right and the left, on whether you wanted to be like strong centralized or a weak centralized government. And you come here to the United States.
Didn't that shift also between state power versus more of a dictator type power?
Yeah. Well, a strong central government would be like a dictator. Okay. And if you go very left, and like say in South America, if you go very left, you're looking at more state power, right? But if you come to the United States, if you're left, you're considered like going more socialist. And what I've really been going down this rabbit hole, because it's just kind of interesting, right? You guys know who Teddy Roosevelt is, right? Mm-hmm. Great American hero.
Rough Riders.
Rough Riders, which the majority of Rough Riders came out of New Mexico because of he wanted a lot of frontiersmen. Teddy Roosevelt was a progressive, but his family was conservative. They were one of the top 3 wealthiest family in the 1800s in New York. They were like, that was it. They were, yeah. So, but he was a sickly child and all that stuff. So he eventually becomes who he is when he goes out west and all that stuff. But he grew up with very progressive ideas. So, and to give you an idea of like what that is like back in New York, back in the old days, people just threw garbage out in the streets. Mm-hmm. Well, Teddy Roosevelt, like, the government should be responsible for that. We should have a garbage cleanup system, clean up the streets. That was like a very progressive idea. But another progressive idea is like, mandatory 8-hour work days or public schools. Those were progressive ideas that the government should protect the people and provide for them certain things as well. It wasn't really like a liberal thing so much as it was a progressive thing for people.
Just new ideas, moving people forward.
And then somewhere after World War II, it kind of became a leftist. If you're a liberal, you're progressive. You know what I mean? Government, social welfare, and all that stuff. And somewhere,
unionization, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so somewhere those two ideologies became enmeshed. Mm-hmm. Whereas Teddy Roosevelt came from a very wealthy family with these very conservative ideas, but at the same time, he had a progressive philosophy where no, our government needs to do more for the people. Very noble ideas. Just food for thought. When he was an old man, when World War I started, he tried to. Did you put your humidor in that? Teddy Roosevelt he proposed to Wilson to put together a volunteer group of soldiers like the Rough Riders to go fight in World War I, and he wanted to lead that group. So and Woodrow Wilson had told him like, no, we're going to let the professional army do it. I thought that would have been the end of Teddy Roosevelt if he was out there in the trenches of World War I. That would have been it. He would have been gone. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah.
That is good.
That is
good,
that is
huh?
super good. Wow. And this is Jeanette. Jeanette makes great things.
I
So-
love making cocktails.
Making what?
Cocktails.
Cocktail?
Yeah, that's what Jeanette does here. So I've come across this idea because, like, coming out of World War II, where all these different ideas, and you had lefty ideology, socialism with progressive and all that stuff, like give everything to the people, tell them how to live. We're coming out of this post. Oh yeah, I leave everything on my face. we I've been coming up with this theory that maybe we're coming post World War II to this new idea, like where people are like, well, Social Security, it's a progressive thing. It's you help people that retire.
Yeah.
But maybe what we're seeing now is like this unwinding of liberalism from progressive ideology. Do you know what I mean? That's why, like, the DNC is up in arms about all this, everything going on. That's the left. That's the liberal ideology, but which was really a big supporter of progressivism. But they were also, prior to like the 80s, they were also like anti-war, anti-everything. The Republican Party was big government, don't spend money on the people, go to war, make money. And now it's like everything's flipped around. Like now you have people like conservatives like let's not go to war. Like, we're over it. We're done with it, right? And you come up with this whole idea of like let's not spend money like we're using. Matter of fact, let's see where the money's at. But we can't get rid of the social services for like people because people need their money. They need their checks too. And we got to take. So I think I'm kind of grappling with this in my head. This whole unwinding of what is left, what is right, and this whole progressive where our government does provide things for us still. You see where I'm going with that? So that's why I think like a lot of this big rage is people have all these different mix of things, and it's kind of unwinding. And so, yeah, they want Trump to go in and see what's going on, but then they're mad because the immigration and what you're looking at Social Security too, and it's like whoa, let's take a minute and just think about it.
Looking and reforming are two different things.
Yeah, and reforming doesn't necessarily mean
removal.
Yeah, and it doesn't even mean like, hey, I understand you make minimum wage and you need your food stamps as well. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to cut your benefits, but there's still a lot of other stuff going on that we should probably get to the bottom of too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've been wrestling with these ideas in my head, and I'm not a smart guy. Like these people I talk to and I work for and all that stuff are so much more intelligent than me. And when they tell me tidbits of information, I just ponder it in my mind and like try to make sense of what I see.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Food for thought. Kind of interesting, though.
It is pretty interesting. It also makes it look like government is like a club, a Sam's Club. I'm not liking this club anymore, so I'm going to go to another country and see what they're all about.
Let them go then.
I know. No, I'm just saying that.
Michael Moore. I'm going to move to Canada. He hasn't moved yet.
I know. And I think that this is where I think that sometimes people think it's that easy to just like change your country.
Yeah.
And honestly, like,
it's inertia, right?
Well,
you just can't stop it. It's like like the cargo ship in the ocean.
Yeah.
It takes 10 miles for it to stop because it has the inertia behind it.
But at the same time, like, what is most important? I think that what people fail to see is that, you have some better freedoms here than you would have elsewhere.
Hey, you know what?
Every country is different, and I don't think people understand that.
On the news, you had this girl in L.A. protesting the government again, wearing her Mexican shirt with her Mexican flag, protesting anti-United States. You don't see any Americans in Mexico wearing American shirts, American flags, protesting the Mexican government. Nor would that fly. Like you can't go be like, hey, the police officer was harassing me because I was protesting anti-Mexico with my American flag. They're going to be like, yeah, okay, pay your fine. Deal with it. Like, that doesn't happen. You have that protection here.
And I think that that's the thing that we fail to sometimes see is that, I don't know.
I feel like Jeanette never fails to see it.
I never fail to see it. That was weird. Jeanette never fails to see it. I don't know.
So that's what's been going on in my mind when I see all this stuff going on in the news right now. And I have this thing I've been saying lately that when I'm at work and I'm telling colleagues and all this stuff, things going on in the market, I always say, just wait and see. Just wait. Just be patient. Let's see what happens. Let's see how the market responds to stuff. Don't get crazy about things.
Don't get crazy
about whether it's competitors, whether it's the government. I was like, just be patient and let's just see where things go. I mean, if we're finding money being paid to people that are 150 years old and they're both feet on the ground.
Is that really the worst thing that's happened? Come on, there's so much other stuff that's happened.
Well,
I mean, how many 150-year-olds are we paying?
I don't know. I'd be curious to find out.
One?
But if they pull up the Social Security database and there's like 1 million people at 150 that we're paying money to, that's a problem. That's stupidity. Somebody's got to be fired and go to jail.
That's like negligence, like what happened?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like I want to know. Like if I saw that, I'm like, we have like 2,000 people living to 150. What are they doing that we're not seeing?
Why, if they are alive, what are they doing right? Oh, so you're saying they are alive? They're getting money. What did they do right? What are they eating? Are they eating enchiladas? I need to eat more enchiladas. Like, no. Okay, and then I brought this up last night. I'll bring it up again in case anybody missed it, though. The Kennedy files, 2,000 more pages released, and what this special committee said when they came out and said, "Oh yeah, it looks like that there's 2 shooters."
Oh yeah, but people have been saying that though before.
Yeah, but again, everything that
now
came out.
Now they're like, no, for real, there was 2 shooters.
The fact that the government said it though, everybody else, Oliver Stone was saying that.
Everyone was saying it, but now they're just admitting it.
Yeah, with Kevin Costner. Yeah. No, but the fact that the Warren Commission, the magic bullet, the bullet went in this way, 45 degrees, went down this way, went through the other guy, hit his arm and broke his bone and did this and that. No. The fact that they came out now, they finally said 2 shooters, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is
a big deal.
Did you ever watch that one movie?
Oliver Stone movie? JFK?
No, it wasn't that one. It was from her perspective, the wife's perspective.
No.
Jackie?
Yes, Jackie. Did you ever watch that?
But you know what it is when the movie came out in the 1970s, women's opinions weren't... I mean, if it came out today, it would get a lot of fanfare. Jeanette. Come on, Jeanette. You got to think of the times.
You're just lucky that you have a friend that loves you. That's what happens to be a female.
Again, everything I say is in jest. It's not... I don't go out there saying, like, you're a woman, you can't own a house. I don't go out saying that.
He let you vote.
Not to everybody. But earlier he was like, "Oh my God, you did it! Good for you."
JD Vance, he did this thing. He's talking on stage, and I don't know who he's talking to, and he's talking about like how DEI is dead, right? And he says, "You can be a guy now, and you can make a bad joke, and you're not going to be criticized and go to jail for it. Guys make bad jokes, and they're funny." And it's okay.
It's because people just need to relax and just stop being so
Dude,
freaking serious.
When he said that, I was like, he's talking to me. I was like, thank you, JD.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Yes.
You gave him permission to make all these bad jokes.
I was like, bad joke guy, right here. I was like, so you know what?
HR, I told you I could say that.
That's right. You know what, Jeanette? It's okay.
That's your argument.
It's okay for me to joke around about you voting.
Oh my God, who is this guy? I'm going to take him out.
As long as the kitchen's clean before you go, it's okay.
Jeez.
I mean, we should live in a world where people could joke around like that.
Well, you
like
should.
If you can't, if you get upset that I say a joke like that to Jeanette, it's like, hey, chill out, we're friends.
Calm down.
I know.
One of my favorite Robin Williams quotes.
Oh God, yeah.
If they can't take a fuck, joke them. I mean,
oh my God. Robin Williams was in that Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Great movie. I mean, I watch it all the time. It was brilliant. But when he's fired and he's leaving because he's getting his discharge papers for everything that happened, he tells his commanding officer, "You are the most underfucked white guy in all of Vietnam," and he leaves, and that guy comes out all mad, and his commanding officer does. He goes, "Yeah, you're going to Guam," and he goes, "God, that was funny." Like,
oh, you're more dire need of a blowjob than any white man in the Yep.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to Guam, and then he's sitting there with more dire need of a blowjob. He's laughing.
But that's what we need now. We need people to relax.
Just relax.
We're always said, if you're not hurting anybody, then what's the big deal? You know, I have garbage in front of my house. I'm not blocking the sidewalks. If I'm not hurting anybody, leave my pieces of wood out there. You know what I mean? We're all human. We're all human.
I saw that pile of wood out there. I was like,
what are you making out of that pallet?
That's what I was thinking.
I was gonna.
Are you gonna make furniture? What are you gonna do?
I'm not Mark over here. I'm this Mark. I'm not that creative. I was like, well, maybe I'll just cut it and use it for a bonfire.
That's what I was thinking you were gonna do with it, but.
And it's got like the top. It's got the bottom 8 feet of my Christmas tree there with it when I cut my Christmas tree. I
saw the tree too.
I misjudged the size of the tree, and I ended up cutting a 25-foot tree down. I don't know, is that legal? I had a license. I think you can only cut 20. No, I only cut 20 feet. So, anyways. but I was like, put that in my burn pile. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's the funniest thing. I turned on all the alarms when Codes was looking at it.
God, that's funny.
Oh my God. Oh man. So anyway.
It's too late for a bonfire. It's getting warm now. You got to burn that wood now.
It's never too late for a bonfire. No.
Okay.
Get people together and like a man understands it. Get your friends together and burn something.
All right.
Yeah.
Come on, Jeanette.
Around Christmas, that little kid was about to light one of those trees back there.
Good for him.
Good for him. It was your tree.
No. So that little kid, he's being raised by like a single mom.
Yeah.
And the single mom was here with her friend, and they were, Christmas. I think it was a Christmas party.
It was
a
Christmas party.
Was it? Mm-hmm. So we were outside making food. Maybe it wasn't the Christmas, but we were making food.
It was Christmas.
Was it? I don't remember.
Yeah,
it was one of those.
Christmas party.
And so he's grown up with a single mom, and the single mom, she doesn't let him play with like toy guns, and she doesn't let him do all this stuff because he's a single child being raised by his mother. So I buy him some toy guns. I was like, dude, Nerf toy guns. I was like, and the lady says, well, geez, like his mom doesn't want to play. I was like, he's a kid. It's okay. And so he's out there playing with the bonfire, and I pulled him aside and said, you can play with the bonfire, that's fine, but you're going to get burned. And if you get burned, you can't cry.
Is that what you said?
Do you understand me? You're gonna get burned a little bit, but you can't cry because that's what happens when you play with fire. Do you understand me? He goes, okay. And then he tells his mom like 2 days later. But so he's out there playing, and he goes, he burns his hand. I was like, I told you it was gonna happen. You can't cry. So then his mom calls the lady. They're like, did you really tell him that he can't cry if he gets burned? I was like, yes. He's a little boy, and little boys do stupid and dangerous stuff from time to time. And you know what? If they do that, they have to understand the consequences of it. And part of it is like, okay, I did this to myself. I can't cry about it.
That's right.
That's it.
If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough.
If you're going to be dumb, you're going to be tough.
What was curious?
I love that.
And I was trying to explain to the lady's friend, I was like, look, that's something that only a guy would teach a little kid. And unfortunately, this little kid, I'm sure he's going to raise well. Mom's going to love him to pieces. He's going to grow up to be a good man. But he needs to hear those lessons from a guy. Especially if he doesn't have a guy in his life. Like, geez, my dad, when I did stupid stuff and my dad looked at me, he'd be like, stupid, put some dirt on it.
My grandson, my daughter calls me from the hospital, FaceTimes me. My grandson's got a hole in his lip, tooth jabbed up in his mouth. He fell face planted off of something. And I was like, man, that's going to leave a good scar.
Oh, my God.
Chicks dig scars. And a few months later, his brother whacks him in the head with a toy truck and busts him in his eye.
Oh, my
and they're
God.
in the ER getting stitches. And he tells his mom, is that going to leave a good scar? Grandpa says chicks dig scars.
Is that going to leave a good scar?
But that's a lesson that us guys teach each other.
You got to be tough, man. Roger Allen Wade said it best.
Oh, I know, right? Like when we were kids, we would do stupid stuff like jumping off the roof with a grocery bag.
Yeah.
And it hurt. But like I was the youngest of 4 boys, and that was the kind of thing like, hey, don't tell dad because dad's gonna get mad at you, so you just sucked it up.
Homemade parachutes out of the hayloft. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We just jumped in the grass. We just jumped on the ground. It hurt. And okay, so
we would slide down pieces of lumber from the little casita that my grandma had in the back of her house. So we would climb up on that casita, make a slide out of a board, and we get splinters on our ass.
Nice.
Yeah. Right, but the lessons.
And we had fun though.
The lessons we learned are the lessons kids aren't learning now, right?
They festered up.
When we were in California, my dad, he had this wood lot. He had this lot and had a wood pile from like all the lumber he'd bring from like the construction work, and he'd throw it there and reuse it, or whatever. And one of the boards had like a carpenter nail sticking out of it.
Oh,
and I'm running around barefooted. And of course, your parents always tell you, don't run around barefooted.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that would have helped.
Step on a nail. Yeah.
Yeah. And what did I do? I stuck that nail right through my foot.
Oh.
And I'll tell my friend about this, and like, what did you do? You cry? I was like, no. I was so terrified my dad was going to get mad at me and spank me. I pulled my foot out, and I kept on playing, and I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to get in trouble. That's the kind of kids we were when we were growing up. And kids nowadays, they kind of need to be reminded of these lessons, right? Like, hey, it's okay to toughen up a little bit. Like, yeah, we're kids. I didn't
have that sort of mentality, but I grew up when I was little. A lot of what I remember as a little girl was
Wait, were you a little girl?
Yes, I was. I grew up with my male cousins in Colorado. I was a little girl, damn you. But I remember my cousins.
Sometimes I felt like a little girl.
They would love to watch wrestling.
Uh-huh.
And we would trade off playing games, and they would say, well, if you want to play house, we have to play wrestling first. And if you cry, we're not going to play. If you cry and we wrestle. So I remember just like we'd be wrestling, and I'd be getting rug burn, and I'm like, fuck, I can't cry. Because otherwise they're not going to want to play house later. So I would just take it, and we would just like roughhouse for a while, and then after a while I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's how it was.
That's how it was.
I grew up with male cousins, and it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of stupid
understood,
shit,
and it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And I still think there are kids that are like that today, but I think there's fewer of them. You know what I mean? I know.
I think this one's going to be.
And you know what? Growing up, the youngest of the four boys.
Not this one.
You get dished out a lot, and there was never any of this like stop picking on your little brother. It's it was never any. Champagne. There was never any of that. But when I went to the dentist in Mexico, talk about good customer service. Like, the price. Yeah. I'm like well below 50% of what my colleague paid for the same procedure. Like, well below 50.
Wow.
Probably like 25% of what she paid. And I'm paying without insurance in cash, first of all. The customer service, they pick me up at the border. They take me to the clinic, do the dental work. They drop.
I might need to have this contact.
I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
And then they give me
love that,
they give me the script, and I ask them, where can I get this? They're like, well, we'll take you to the pharmacy. Go to the pharmacy, paid $15 for like 3 things, the prescriptions. And then they took me to the border. And they're nicer than hell, these people. Now, I warn you, the streets in Mexico are crap. Here's something I didn't understand.
I'll
continue with my story here in a second. But
I'm going tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah.
These Mexican folk that come to the United States and they work over here and they're construction workers and they build houses and all that, right? And I was commenting on this because, down our main street, they're doing construction. I go, God, look at that road. It's coming in good. They're going to do a good job, and our street's going to be really nice and all that, going down the main road, going to our town. And then I was driving. I was like, if they can make a really good road here in the United States, why in the hell can they not make a really good road in Mexico?
Because they got to have somebody paying.
You got to have money.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Like, the Mexicans pay their taxes and the government officials pocket it all. That's the big thing. And then you have monster potholes.
Oh, my God. In Zihuatanejo, the roads are beautiful. and getting around is easy. The roads are nice. Everything's cobblestone. You get on the other side of the airport, headed south. Holy shit. We were on these little motorcycles. And the potholes would dang near all the motorcycles. No signs for the speed bumps. I mean, you were just no help.
When I read that you're in Zihuatanejo, I knew exactly where you were at from the I can't think of the name, the Road to Redemption. I knew exactly where you were, and I was like, Andy would be proud.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was a little bit jealous. I
went around. I miss my friend Andy.
Like, where's Red?
Wait, where are you from?
Where am I from?
He's not Mexican.
Did you say you're from Ohio?
I was born in Ohio.
Ohio. There's that penitentiary out there.
Yeah, that's where
they filmed.
That's where they filmed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Really?
been out there. It's they do ghost tours there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't think I've
In
ever been to
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah, the next time I'm up there, I'm gonna make my sister take me. We gotta go.
Ohio's fun. My sister lived there for a year. She lived in Beaverton.
Beaverton. Ohio was a frontier.
Forget.
It was a frontier.
It was actually
town.
beautiful
Yeah,
out there.
They
I loved it.
and they hunted
beavers.
I just can't get away from it. Beavers are majestic animals.
Beaverton. They hunted beavers.
Can you imagine those little critters? Not the one in the pants.
You don't chew on your wood though.
Those little critters, not the pan critters, but the other ones.
That
ridiculous.
That drove the whole U.S. economy. Like at one point, like that was our whole economy. And
Hats.
hats. Yeah, I mean, like what the hell?
Sending hats to England.
I mean, and yeah, we made a lot of babies too, but I mean that's kind of byproduct, I guess. But you know what they say: one in the hand is as good as two in the bush.
Is that what they're saying these days? I didn't know that.
But the ones in Brazil are really skinny.
I'm okay with that. I support that to my Brazilian friends.
Oh my.
I've been trying to learn Portuguese too.
That little.
There's a lot of furless animals out there too. What's that one cat with no hair?
Yeah.
I mean, there's those pussy cats out there that are hairless. I mean, it's a thing. And those ones aren't from Brazil.
It sounds dangerous though.
Okay, so going back to Mexico, it was funny though. Like the lady was like, "How do you break your teeth?" I'm like, "I'm a guy. I was a kid. Like I played rugby. And I fought. I broke one in a fight." And she's just like, "Señor Castillo." And I was like,
I just broke them.
Yeah, I was like, sorry. It was
But
fun.
now they're hurting.
And now they're hurting.
All
Sorry.
these years.
Yeah.
Now they're hurting. Dang
No, it's
it.
kind of cool. It was kind of funny. So, okay. So tell me about Zihuatanejo. Like, was that your first time there, first of all?
Yeah, the first time there.
So, like,
Cool.
so is it a big town, first of all?
It's a pretty good size.
Is it like comparable to our town, or?
Between Ziwa and Ixtapa, yeah, it's very similar. Well, it's a little smaller, I guess.
A little smaller.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's restaurants and bars everywhere. Downtown Zihuatanejo, everything's cobblestone.
And so I imagine, because, okay, so Zihuatanejo, that's, I think, south of Colimas, right? I think.
North Acapulco.
So it's in that area. It's part of Mexico that was heavily Spanish influenced, but then you have those really dark-skinned Mexicans down there, too.
Right.
The very indigenous-looking ones. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's got a lot of Spanish influence.
yeah.
The town's kind of neat. It's all based on tourism. They voted in somebody to be mayor, and he started throwing a lot of money into the city
It tastes
for
more-
infrastructures and stuff. And he ran his 2 terms. So his wife ran for mayor,
So
and
good.
so now she's doing it. And rather than pocket most of the money like they do,
Yeah.
they're investing it into the community.
Good for them.
And I mean, most of the businesses have overhangs over their
Wow,
building.
good for them.
Even the streets that are cobblestone, they're still concrete that look like cobblestone.
Mm-hmm.
It's red, and it's really nice. They go through, they clean everything. You
Good for
spread
them.
a trash bag out on the street in the middle of the night. It's gone in the morning. I mean, it's nice.
Wow.
That is legit.
Everything's walking distance. There's a bike paths that run, I don't know how many miles of bike paths.
No kidding.
And just nice walking trails, and the beaches are clean, and it's safe. You
So-
can walk down alleys at night.
So a
drunk,
couple of things about Mexico that people don't realize, because from like around 2008 to 2015, things got hairy down there, and we're not talking about the beavers. I mean, it got hairy, right? Like when they were like like
that.
even like in Juarez, I was telling a friend of mine, like, oh yeah, I used to go when I was a kid. I used to go partying down this strip right here over the bridge, and all the clubs were there. And I remember at that time he says, oh yeah, there was a couple of heads found down there. This is like years ago, but I was like, really? So things got bad. Like heads were showing up everywhere. Yeah. But Mexico's beautiful. It's beautiful wherever you go. Beautiful country. I mean, you can't knock it. Women are beautiful. Great. People are wonderful. They're nice. They're thankful. There's a lot of cool places. And everywhere I've been to, off the border, because the border town, Juarez, it's considered an industrial town. So it's different. But all the other towns I've been to, they have like bike paths. Like you say, everywhere. They have like really good museums everywhere you go. They have like in Monterey, they had like this baseball museum because there's a lot of baseball down there. And it was like a legit cool museum. Like it's a very cultured place. Like and I've never been anywhere that I haven't felt safe. I never thought growing up, I never thought I'd be like spending the night in Juarez and walking down the streets and going eating on the corner. I've done that so much now. Like even now when I'm like
downtown
it's
Albuquerque on Central feels unsafe, and I've been to New Orleans on
New Orleans is different.
And I don't feel unsafe in New Orleans, but I felt the most unsafe downtown on Central in Albuquerque on a weekend.
Oh yeah,
Breaking Bad. Come on, there's a reason Breaking Bad was happening in Albuquerque.
That was the unsafest I've ever felt. And I'm telling you, New Orleans it's a very shady place.
Okay. I
didn't feel in danger.
So and interesting story about New Orleans.
4 o'clock in the mornings, just walking down the street.
I
didn't feel unsafe.
I watch where you stepped.
Try not to pass out anywhere.
No open-toe shoes.
So it's funny that you mentioned
like
New Orleans,
piss.
right? So, lady friend comes from Mexico, and it's curious, but a lot of Mexicans have this idea that we must be racist people. And I think it's the social media, it's the movies, and it's TV.
Yeah.
And that's something, for the people I've met, they've always asked, like, about racism in America. I'm like, I don't see it, right? I don't see it. I just never have. And so what was curious is we go to New Orleans, and we're there. It's like the week before Mardi Gras. Parades are happening, all that. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. And my friend from Mexico says, she's like, this is kind of different. I didn't expect it. I go, what did you expect? She goes, God, there's a lot of black people here. There's a lot of white people here. I was like, and they're just like all like partying with each other on the street. And there's like people from everywhere here. Like, and there's Mexicans or some, like, it's just, and she was just surprised. And like, there's like not like any race issues. I go, exactly. Like, this is America. Like what you see on TV and what it may happen still in places, but overall, this is America right here, where you're having a big melting pot and people get along and they're enjoying things. This is the real deal right here. So, this is, and so like 8-9 months later, we're shoe shopping at the local Dillard's, and there's a gentleman, and I don't know, I'm just chilling down in a chair, I'm just relaxing. I don't want to look at any stinking shoes. I'm playing a video game and go, hey man, what's going on? And we start talking. I was like, I remember the days I used to sell ladies' shoes, man. I hope you're doing pretty good. He goes, yeah, it's going pretty good. Good. We start talking. He's from New Orleans.
Oh wow.
So we start talking, and I was telling, well, you know, a lady friend came up from Mexico, and she wants to shoe shop, and took her to New Orleans, and she said it's beautiful, it's cool. She liked the melting pot. She was really surprised at how non-racist it was, because you know it's you know, it wasn't. It was a really good
cool
experience.
Things out there, yeah.
And he says, well, yeah, you see that, you know, and I'm really glad you had a good experience down there. I'm like, yeah, it was really wonderful. It was my first time too. And he goes, but you know, New Orleans is part of the deep South, but there's even like deeper South. Mm-hmm. And he goes, man, let me tell you. He goes, like in the big towns, there's a lot of acceptance and a lot of like people that come together and they're getting past all this. But he goes, there's still little holdouts just outside of New Orleans. You get into sort of little boroughs or little neighborhoods or little everything parishes. And he says, you go into neighborhoods where it's all black, and if you're white, you don't go in there. If it's like an all white parish and you're black, you don't go in there. There's still tiny little pockets that are there that just haven't gone away. And he goes, and from downtown New Orleans, he goes, you could probably find a little pocket like that within 10 minutes. And he says it's just still there, even though it's not what it used to be. He goes, it's still there if you look for it.
There's places that you really shouldn't.
Well,
and I think that
there's places like that here.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't be going.
Yeah.
I mean, but I remember going to. It was Virginia. My friend and I went for bike racing, and we were driving around just looking for something to do, a bar to hang out at, and we were in Danville, and we were just driving around, and we couldn't find shit.
Did you meet a guy named Dan in Danville?
No, but we did end up finding a restaurant. Happened to be a sports bar, which was completely deceiving. We ended up having drinks there. We met some locals, and we were like, yeah, this place is kind of interesting because, like, there's no bars or, like, it's weird. Like, we just gave up and came here thinking it was a restaurant, but now it's a sports bar. It was really weird. And he's like, you guys were driving around, and he's like, where? And we were, like, telling him, he's like, you guys could have been shot. Like, what the hell? What do you mean? Yeah, he's like, no one goes there. And then her and I look at each other and we're like, well, we can. We're Hispanic.
Oh, my God.
We blend with anybody.
Wow.
Well, we can. I was like, and then later on she's like, oh, shit.
So you went through the most dangerous neighborhood and you didn't...
We were just... we were driving everywhere.
Really?
Looking for a goddamn bar. We could not find one. We settled on what looked like a family joint, which was disguised as a sports bar.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the name of that place? You remember? If you're in Dansville, go look for a little family joint.
Has
the
some...
pigskin.
Huh?
The pigskin.
And it's funny that you say that. It was something similar. I remember it had like a pig or something. It's funny that you say that. Was it? Were you there too? Maybe. I have no idea.
Tell you,
it was wild.
Everywhere I went in New Orleans was freaking cool. And every tavern you go in there is cool. Even Dario sent us sent me message, go here and go there. And I was looking them up. They're supposed to be haunted. So I was there with my camera didn't see anything weird, but it was just a good time.
I was telling you to go to Lafitte Blacksmith Shop.
I went there
on Bourbon.
Yes,
it's a very cool little dive bar, but I love it. They have strong hurricanes, but you also go kind of like in like the gay district. So there's a lot of like.
I would have gone to the gay district because
it's supposed to be haunted. Lafitte's.
I didn't see anything. I went just to go see that, and it was like it was like cool. So that's let me think here. I went to New York after New Orleans, but by New Orleans I don't think I was walking with my cane yet, but it was already hurting, and it was weird. So I was like, I'm just gonna pay these guys that are on the little bikes, the little taxi guys on the bikes. I'm not walking. I'm like at that point. That's before my hip surgery. I was dying. One of the guys that took me back to the hotel from freaking Santa Fe. Yeah, and he was like, "Where are you guys from?" I go, "New Mexico." He's no kidding. Where are you from? Las Cruces. Like, why is that? He goes, "I'm from Santa Fe." I'm like, small world. And he's been living there, and he does that, and he loves it. But I couldn't. We were going down Bourbon Street, and I was at a point. I was like, I don't want to walk anymore. Let's just go to a tavern. So we went to like a little corner tavern. I wish I remember the name of it. And they had some guy up there singing everything, and like Sweet Caroline, like Money Money, and it was just the coolest. And it was like the hometown squad in there, people in their shorts and all that. It was the coolest little bar. And man, just had a great time. It was legit.
It was fun.
Yeah. So we were on like another side street. And then people were like, hey, there's going to be a parade over there. And it's like a small street. And so we were out there and we were lighting. We were all taking pictures and videos. It was like legit cool. The parade ends. And then here comes two big old city trucks with the water trucks that has like the little nozzles in the front. And they're like, I think they want you to leave because they're just spraying the sidewalks and everything down with water. And everybody's just like ready to get out. I was like, well, that'll do it. That's one way to do it. Like, wait. I remember thinking like, good on them. That's the way to clear the streets. Nope. That way, there's no problems.
No problem. No riots. No drunken.
Yeah, that was a good move on their part. But yeah, New Orleans is legit, and
yeah, they probably got to have crowd control pretty down.
I saw security there, but it wasn't like an overwhelming presence. So it was cool. Then we went bike riding
Yeah.
through like a big city park and took the trolley trains and all that. It was, and then you had the.
Oh, was that the park across from Tulane on in the Garden District?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a pretty park, and Tulane is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
but the Garden
Oh.
District is really nice, and you take that trolley down.
And what are those
Yeah.
those little beignets or whatever? The
Oh,
little,
beignets.
Beignets.
Oh my god.
And you have to get them from like this one little shop that makes them.
Oh, you're talking about Cafe Du Monde?
Cafe Du Monde. So I went to Cafe Du Monde, and we're eating beignets, and we're just sitting there eating them. They're really good. You have them with a cup of coffee, and they're just really delightful. They're
They
not very
are.
big. They're not really small, but they're just the right size, and they're just not overly sweet. They're really well made. And I guess you get them everywhere, but you get them at Cafe Du Monde. And when I'm sitting there at Cafe Du Monde, there's these two like black guys. I mean, and when I say black, they're like black as night black. And so they're sitting there and they're speaking in French. And I said something. I know very little French. I go, "Je suis, s'il vous plaît." And they look at me and he goes, "You speak French?" And I was like, we just start talking. These guys came up from some random African country, like I don't remember the name of it, but it was like the most random place. And how they, so we start talking, and I tell him, I go, look, I can say only a couple of phrases. My French, don't think I can speak French. He starts laughing, and he goes, yeah, we immigrated from our country down like past the Ivory Coast and all that. We ended up in Morocco. And then from Morocco, they immigrate to like Spain or something. From Spain, they come all the way to the Caribbean, to like Haiti or something. And then they end up in New Orleans. And that's what they're doing now. They work there now. And all I can think...
They go to Martinique or Guadeloupe or one of the French
What
countries.
Like... What a pair of cojones you have to like make that... Like... No family, no nothing. You go country hop like 6 countries, and now you're in the United States. Like, talk about having to have a pair of cojones to travel through all these countries that are, a lot of them are war torn, impoverished.
Yeah.
You're not accepted, and they speak French because it was like French African countries at the time. Like, all I can think is like, you guys, even you don't.
And it's like become its own thing over there.
It's like, don't downplay the fact
Yeah.
that you're here doing this, because
Yeah,
that is
that's
so
pretty cool.
impressive that you took the chance to get over here to do this. And even though you're just working at Cafe Du Monde, like, that is so freaking impressive. Like, when was the last time you heard of American going through war torn countries and all that to get somewhere else? That was just so super impressive.
That probably wouldn't happen.
No, that was.
They'd be looking for Starbucks all right or
It was super impressive.
the
I was like,
way.
wow, that was cool. So yeah, I got a picture with them. I was like, that was cool. New Orleans.
Yeah.
Talk about like the mixing
It's
pot.
fun, huh? It's a cool
beautiful, beautiful.
I love that place.
I don't know if I could live there, but
And
No, I always say
drove
that.
through New Orleans, but I didn't stop. I
Uh-huh.
had to get somewhere, and I just kind of went down up Bourbon Street and then back
Mm.
out on the freeway.
Oh, I definitely want to go back. Probably in the next few years.
And I
I'll be
also
going
had
back.
my truck loaded up, and I was afraid of getting broke into.
Oh yeah.
so I went with an organization, and it was like a national. AA, yeah, international.
Oh, I'm so gonna go back probably in the next few
So-
year. We should all go together.
The,
It'll be
organiza-
fun.
the organization
I love New
I went
Orleans.
with, I was
It'd
like
be
a
fun.
board member, and people from all over the world were there for that part of the organization. And they rented out the, I want to say it was the Marriott. They rented like the whole Marriott. And I just got lucky. My hotel was like one of the top floors. You could see the Mississippi and everything. It was really cool. And so, so I was running late. I get there. I was like, I gotta go downstairs and for the meet and greet and all that. And everybody's already coming out of like the main opening conference, and I mean thousands of people were coming down. I had to find my group of people that I'm there with from New Mexico, and I just started meeting random people. They're like, oh yeah, we're having a parade right now, and everybody's meeting down in front of the hotel. And so I went and got my friend, and we would go downstairs, and we're standing in front of the hotel, and they've got like people all dressed up like in the clown and all the like the New Orleans style, people on stilts, like you name it, like everything, right? Really freaking cool. The women dressed in feathers and all that. And then suddenly this marching band, the whole, playing jazz and everything.
Trombone, too.
And they're like, all right, everybody, follow along, and we're going down. I think it was Canal Street or something like that, and there are like thousands of people just coming out that from part of this organization, and we're just all going down the street, and they stop traffic, and all the performers are going with us, and we go to a famous music hall, and I don't remember what it was called. Famous music hall, beautiful, and they had these like three old men sitting on the stage playing jazz music, really cool jazz music.
Yeah.
And we're just pouring in, and it's like it's got pictures of all like the famous people that have played there, like Louis Armstrong, and even like modern, like more modern day peoples, like just all over the place.
Like
Free
Ella
alcohol,
James,
all the food from New Orleans. Like they had
Yeah.
they had like 4 sections of just big sections of just food. You just go get what you want. All the local food there, all the local beer there. It was like
Abita Ambers.
yeah, it was like on point. And finally, I met with my group of people. They're like, "Dude, this is like intense. This is like stupid cool." It was a good experience. Like,
Yeah.
so I went with the conference for like 2 or 3 days, and then I ended up staying for like another 4 days. So I should have just stayed at the hotel. No, it's because somebody else had already rented out the hotel. Like
Another group came in.
and they just rent the whole hotel.
Wow.
So I got an Airbnb in what they call the Jefferson District, and beautiful. I mean, it's just a stupid. Like the Airbnb was not much bigger than like 2 rooms. It was small, but like the old brick walls, and they had like an old like a court like enclosed courtyard with a pool there. All the old red cobblestone like from the old days.
Interesting.
It was
Sounds like
beautiful.
the first time I went, it was a place called the Quarter House. It was in the French Quarter, and then the last a few times there.
Which
my
quarter
friend-
was it? Was it like the first quarter, the second quarter?
Don't tell. But
He was the one
it was
with
in the French
thigh.
Quarter. It's called the Quarter House, though.
Yeah, the
But-
leg in the thigh.
A friend of a friend has a house. He has a townhouse. He actually has it in the French Quarter. He has this place. He owns it, but he let us stay there for free. At least a few visits that I went out to New Orleans. It was actually a block away from Cafe Du Monde. It was on Decatur and Dumaine.
Yeah, you guys want to plan a trip like that.
It was beautiful.
I'm
It was
in.
beautiful.
Yeah,
out there.
we've got to like.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know
I
what's
mean,
fun?
I travel so much by myself. To go travel with other people is just
Oh,
like intriguing.
And my friend Betsy,
Yeah.
I mean, she's all.
So I
Betsy
think
is my friend from Taos who. There's a whole group of people. There's like the whole group of people in Taos that I know, that's how I would travel to New Orleans. Is I would go in a group with these people from Taos, and I've built bonds with them, and it would be so much fun. I went to a wedding out in New Orleans because
that's
someone
cool.
had
I bet that's what's beautiful.
and some they had decided to get married there, and they had the whole like perception.
I
think-
think,
I think New Orleans is probably underrated because
It's beautiful.
everybody goes for Mardi Gras. You think of Mardi Gras on Fat Tuesday and all that, but everything else down there is just so stinking beautiful.
We went for Jazz
Like-
Fest. I've been to Jazz Fest twice over there in New Orleans.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you break out with mariachi or?
You haven't been to Jazz Fest? Yeah. Oh yeah, I took that hat. That was my hat.
Okay, I have a funny. Speaking of the Mexican like mariachi, Gallagher. Do you remember the comedian Gallagher? Do you know who he was, Jenna?
No, I don't
So
know
those is-
Gallagher.
he was the guy who smashed fruit and stuff with the
Yeah, so he'd get watermelons, and he had a big wooden mallet, like a big one, like a carnival-sized one. It had a hole in the middle of it, so when he smashed that watermelon with it, watermelon would like just come flying through the middle of it and everything. When I was like 24. This is a young Mark. I was still wet behind the ears.
Aw, young
Oh,
Mark.
I still had my young high-pitched voice. So I can't do this anymore.
It was like 5 years ago,
Yep.
right?
My
It was.
my
It
man
really
parts
was.
had just dropped. You know what I mean?
man
So
parts just
a
dropped.
friend of mine, I started working in the public schools, and a friend of mine started teaching me sign language, and her husband had just deceased maybe like the year before, so we became good friends, and it was like every year for her birthday we would go see a comedian. And so this year, it was like the 3rd year or something. She goes, "Hey, it's my birthday." I was like, "Oh, cool." She goes, "I have an extra ticket for Gallagher." I was like, she goes, "That's my favorite comedian." She's much older than I am. She's from Albuquerque. And I was like, "Oh, how cool. Let's do this." And she goes, "Okay, let's go." And
And you would take a raincoat.
yeah,
Cover
like
yourself with
Really?
plastic.
like the whole front, they have like little plastic tarps so you can do that. And so we're sitting like in the middle bowl of the Pan American, and she goes, "Do you hear a Mexican cat call that?" Well, like I say, my man bits had just dropped. So at that point, I could really do that really loud at a high pitch. Now I just sound like a wild animal that's dying. I'm like, it's horrible now, but I could really like belt it out back in the day like a mariachi guy. And Gallagher was on stage, and I did it. And he goes, "What the hell is that?" And they put the spotlight in the crowd. And he's like, "Who in the hell did that?" And my friend, her name's Janice, and she was just like waving her arms, jumping up and down. He did. And he calls me out on stage at the Pan American.
No way.
Sold out.
Really?
Gallagher. I was like, yeah, Gallagher in the day is like.
Yeah, that was like
who?
Carlin, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I mean that's like going to Joe Rogan now. It's like sold out, right?
Yeah.
So he called me on stage, and he was getting ready for this like, his set. He did part of his set, and he was getting stuff out so he could continue his set. And he goes, "Okay, you keep everybody entertained." And he sticks me right in front of the stage, and Janice says she saw his picture somewhere with the mic, and she goes, "Okay, it's all yours. You go ahead." And I'm like, "All right, let me think about a joke. Hey, everybody!" Like, just like me talking to you now. Like at 24, I grabbed the mic. I was like, "All right, so have you guys heard this joke about the Martian?" And like, and I just go on and I start telling this stupid joke. It's about the Earthling and the Martian that swap wives. Have you heard that?
Mm-mm.
And so they swap wives. And so what it is
No, we have to definitely hear this joke.
yeah. So what it is they swap wives, and I have to make sure I've got good internet connection, but they swap wives. And so what happens is the Martian man goes with the Earth woman, and the Earth man goes with the Martian woman. The Earth man with the Martian woman. And like there's kind of a lead up to it, and so they go, and they at the end of the night they go back to their rooms, and the Earth woman's with the Martian man, and he gets undressed, and she's like, "Oh my goodness," and she's like, "What is that? What are you gonna do with that? Oh my goodness!" And he looks at it, he goes, "It's us Earth women, we expect something a little bit more, So he starts standing there, he's scratching his head, and he starts beating his head, and his little Martian bit gets like a foot long. And she's like, oh my, Dios de mi vida, oh my Lord. And she goes, that's super, very impressive, but you're still missing a little something there. And so he starts like scratching his head again, and he starts fiercely tugging his ears, and the thing gets as wide as a football. And she's like, oh my God, ay, Dios de mi vida. And so they go off and do their thing and, have a wonderful night. And then in the morning, they part ways. And they're like, they're just kind of like, at breakfast, and the wife says to the husband, like, "So how's your evening?" Or the husband says to the wife, "How's your evening?" And she's like, "Unexpected but pleasant. Oh my goodness." And she goes, "How's yours?" He goes, "It was pretty good. It was pretty interesting. I just don't understand why that Martian woman kept on hitting me in the head and pulling my ears."
Stupid.
So I say that to the crowd in front of everybody.
Stupid.
And so then Gallagher comes back. And then he starts tugging on my ears. and then he does that joke. He goes, "I have a joke for you." He goes, "Have you ever heard of the one?" Or he goes, "Do you know if a bear shits in the forest?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He has a can of pumpkin sauce. And he goes, and he's like wiping it on me the whole time. He goes, "Well, you tell me." And he pours it on me.
Oh.
And so I was like, you SOB. So I go get his water gun, and I squirt him with his water gun. And he says, I like you. You stand here, and you hand me everything. And I stayed on stage for the rest of the show, handing him all this stuff, and helping him smash watermelons. It was like the coolest thing ever. And this is me. 24, I was barely coming out of my shell. I was still very like wet behind the ears. I was still that very timid, shy Mark. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was like a big thing. Right, and it was like the coolest experience. I have to say, it's like one of the coolest experiences I had. And one of my best friends was there. She got pictures. And what was funny is like after that show, somebody walked up to me and says like, "So, are you one of the paid performers, or did you guys like script this?" Like,
yeah, no.
And she goes, so like, there's no way you guys just pulled that out, and I was like,
Yep.
it just happened.
Yeah,
that just happened that way. And she's like, they're like, that's incredible. And he came and gave me a big hug and and said thanks and all that stuff. That was cool. It was like stupid cool.
That is that is freaking cool. That is cool.
It's funny that all that from the mariachi comment.
Oh man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, wow. that was legit. So anyways, that's my mariachi cat call story and all that was with Gallagher. I'll have to find those pictures.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty
That
cool.
is really cool.
My
That's a cool
my
experience.
friend Janice grew up in the rough side of Albuquerque.
Oh, is she hood?
Yeah.
Really? Is she gangster?
Nicest person you'll ever meet.
Yeah?
But she always says stuff like, "Hey, Mark."
Hey.
Yeah, she's
what is-
wonderful person. Wonderful person. helps so many people. She's living in the home that her late husband built for her. Built it from Adobe. Yeah, and my truck broke down up there. I was going through Albuquerque, and I threw a wheel bearing. You can't do anything when a wheel bearing goes out. You're like, your tires, they turn. Like, you have the tires that turn from the engine, like transmission axle. You have a tire that turns, but the other tires that don't have, like, that aren't connected, they just turn. You know what I mean?
You're talking about like
On a vehicle.
Yes, you're talking about like
Brake roller,
four wheel or
No, just like your regular car.
Yeah.
Like
Isn't
my
it
like
usually,
my, like my truck. Say my truck right now.
Yeah.
It's a pickup truck. So there's a transmission, a rear axle, and the rear axle goes to it turns one of the tires, and that turns.
Yeah.
It's got gears and all that.
Yeah.
Well, the front tires, there's nothing. They just roll.
they just roll. Yeah.
Right. So for a tire to roll, it has bearings that holds all the weight. Like the tire rolls on the bearings.
Yeah.
So when that bearing inside your tire goes out, suddenly your tire can't turn no more.
So you're just fucking pushing a dead tire.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
you
like
have to stop.
you can't. Yeah, you can't.
You have to stop.
Go.
You're done.
Yeah.
So you can't move. So I heard it go out. I heard just a it makes a big screeching sound.
Yes.
I pull over, and even going like 1 mile per hour, you just hear it's just grinding
And
metal on
eventually
metal.
It's gonna seize up.
Yeah. So I'm right there. There's like a kind of an S turn, like when you're going down Interstate 10 or 25. You're going southbound, and the highway makes like a turn. I'm right there where the turn is, so I can't leave my truck there. High traffic, crazy traffic through there, and I know the next exit is like the Martin Luther King exit. I think it was, and so I just crawl it like at 1 mile per hour, scraping the whole way. It's like oh. And so I get down and I make a right, and I just park on the side road right there.
Yeah.
Only person I know is Janice. It's like, hey, Janice, and she's, hey, Mark, what are you doing? I was like, I'm in Albuquerque, and she lives in the town called Belen, which is like
North.
Yeah.
south.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, south. Okay.
half an hour, 45
okay,
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And so
not
like-
that far though.
Janice, my truck just broke down, and I'm in a bad way. I need some
Yeah.
help, please. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. And she goes, yeah, where are you at? And I was like, I just got off of Martin Luther King, and my truck can't go. And she goes, where did you pull off at? I go, Martin Luther King. She goes, what side of the highway you on? And I'm like, I'm all thinking the cardinal directions. I'm like, I'm on the west side. She goes, yeah, you're over there by Cesar Chavez. You're in this neighborhood and that neighborhood. Yeah. She goes, yeah, you can't leave your truck there. And she's telling me like this. She goes, you can't leave your truck there. And I was like, I just threw a wheel bearing. What am I supposed to do? She goes, I don't know. We'll go get you, but you can't leave your truck there, eh? You got to move it. And so I get in my truck, 1 mile per hour, crawl out to the other side of the interstate under the underpass and leave it at a Motel 6. And she finally her son drove her, she gets there and she goes, yeah, you might be okay here. I was like, what do you mean I might be okay? I can't go anywhere. She goes, well, you're at a hotel. You might be okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then the next day, I get back. She brings me back. She takes me to the auto store, and I get a wheel bearing, take my tire off, and I only have rudiment tools. I have like a socket set, screwdrivers. I had like a small ballpoint pin hammer. So I was like, I'll get this. I was there all day just trying to knock the raise. Like there's a metal ring that goes around the bearing. It's called a raise.
Yeah.
And it has to fitted. And it gets in there well.
Pressed in.
Yeah. And so I'm there with a little hammer, just ding, ding, all day, just trying to knock the rays out to get the other bearing in. It must have taken me like 3 hours, but I got it. Like, Yeah, like talk about like that. That's Albuquerque. It's like, yeah, you can't park on that
Albuquerque,
side.
and that's a little deceiving because I don't really know like
That's
the
down by
good or the
airport.
bad.
Down by the airport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like south
No,
of downtown.
no, I
On the
know-
airport
I know
side,
what
it's
you're
not so
saying.
bad, but
Yeah.
on the other side.
But
Yeah.
I know the streets and everything. I know where you're at too, but I don't know the good and the bad parts.
Right.
And
'Cause-
that's the thing. Like I am that stupid. Well, I'll drive everywhere because I just have too much.
But that's
fucking
deceiving
trust.
about like a town like Albuquerque is deceiving like
It
that
is
'cause
deceiving.
You have the whole town. You have a good neighborhood right here, and like right next to it, you have a bad neighborhood.
You see, I
Like,
wouldn't know
it's
that,
weird.
so I just don't go through
Yeah.
the neighborhoods. I just stay on main streets and just like go to and from where I need to
Yeah.
go, and
She
just know
goes
that.
from the nudie bar she's working at to,
Dude, and that's exactly the same.
to her client's house.
That's exactly the same thing I do.
You know,
I go from the
Listen,
nudie bar.
I don't even go to the nudie bar, but I do have a friend who works at a nudie bar. So if ever I visit him, I might have to go to the damn nudie
I
bar
am
to
not
see
going to
him.
tell you my nudie bar
So
story.
I
Well,
mean,
no, I don't have any of them.
I will just say there was a certain young lady that probably is not watching, but called me for the next 3 weeks because she left her makeup bag in my truck.
I think I know who you're talking about. No, maybe not.
Maybe
just-
not.
Maybe not. I don't
No.
know. There's a side of Mark no one will ever know. He keeps to himself.
I like to give tidbits,
You do.
but I think
we know enough. Probably not. I
give
know
some-
enough
I
not to
give some
ask.
tidbits every now
He gets
you know
Not as often as I'd like.
remember that guy, the most interesting man in the world,
Yeah.
Who's the most
the
interesting?
the Dos Equis guys.
Oh, I love him.
He wrestled
I just need
lions.
ice.
He
I just
wrestled
want ice.
lions for fun, and he's been down the Amazon River, like just like the most absurd things.
Oh,
You know,
but he's like up there with like Chuck Norris.
so, but to be the most interesting person in the world,
Oh, no,
I
I'm
think
good. I think I'm
everybody has to
Grab
have
one of the.
little stories like that. Like
Oh, well,
certain
maybe.
stories you don't tell everybody. And even now, like before my dad died, and even now with my mom, every now and then somebody say like, "Hey, did you ever tell your mom that one story?" My mom will be like, "What
Oh,
story?"
I know.
And they'll
I
be
think
like,
everyone has those
and-
stories. There's only a few people, maybe one, two people that I have a few interesting stories that I will only share with them because it's just that bad.
"Yeah, I will."
It's just like, fuck, no one can know anything about this. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I've got but I think that's healthy. I think everybody
You
needs
should.
that.
You should keep something for yourself. In
Well-
this day and age where everyone wants to like share everything, there's some things you should keep for yourself.
You know what? I have a lot that I've kept to myself.
I think that's healthy. You should keep
You
things to
should.
yourself because
You should.
you really should. This is your life.
You know,
Keep some stuff for yourself. You don't
I
have
think
to share
about-
everything.
I've met like a lot of old men in my professional career, like really old men. Like you go meet them at home, and they're like the ones that are like
Oh,
they're
you can try
they're
this
like
one.
they're like 5 years from being in the grave kind of men. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Thank you, sir. And
See,
and when you kind of sit one on one with them and they start opening up about some of their stories, man, they're like very unsuspecting people, very respectable people, and they share these accounts with you, and because they're at the end of the winter of their life. That's it. And you probably know what I'm talking about because we're both in healthcare. We deal with people in their end of days, and they start sharing some of these stories with you. It's like, that's cool. Like, wow, that's cool. You know, like, yeah, like, and they always tell you like, I never told this to my wife. Like, oh, we're going there already. Yes.
we're going there already.
I remember this old man, and he spoke with like the James Earl Jones voice, a Caucasian man, and he says, "Mr. Castillo, come on in and have us." And like he was like 85, 90, and he's like in his wheelchair already, and he's already there, you know. But man, he still had that voice, and when he spoke to you, and when he looked at you, it still had a certain intensity. And we were sitting there, and he says, "Yeah, you know, he lived in a little casita his son built on his property and all that." And says, "Nobody comes and visits me anymore, and I appreciate it." No. We start talking about him, where he grew up, and some of the stuff that we did. He, you know, and very similar stories we had. And at the end of it, he says, "Son, you and me, we are men cut from the same plank." He says, "Would you come visit me from time to time?"
Aww.
I was like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for him to say it that way, I was like, wow. Like, that was cool. That was cool. You know? So.
Aww. And it's true, though. I think that as you get older, you're going to have less and less people visit you. It just reminded me of something, just talking to some of my staff about why they stay so long visiting our clients. And I can see it because I tell them, I was like, a lot of the times people just, you get to a certain age or a certain part of your life, and if you're not feeling good, sometimes people just don't visit you anymore. And you are going to be the person who probably is the only one who's seen them in quite a while.
That's right. We
it's
have the
it's
blessing
really freaking heartbreaking
of being successful and working in a corporate world. Mm-hmm. And there's like expectations and deadlines and things that are required of you that you go through the motions and you do that. And I think to be successful, you have to understand that, and you have to know how to rise to the occasion and get stuff done. Like, and anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Like, you know, if me, I'm not the most punctual person, but I know how to get everything else done. All right, and so I'm able to excel in that way. And every now and then I find, and especially in healthcare, is what we do. It's like I always have to remind people, is like, these people that we help that depend on us, we may be the only ones that they see this week.
Yep.
And I know you're in a hurry and you're in a deadline, but you know what? If you find yourself at that moment where you have a chance to make somebody's day this week, take that extra 10, 15 minutes, half hour, whatever, do it. Because you're never going to get that opportunity again. Maybe not with that person. I don't know. You know what I mean? But take that moment to make a difference in that guy's life this week. You know, and that's like, it's a very important work-life balance.
I think having that patience too, because something I have to continue to remind people is that, you know, they'll say so-and-so acted out and was this, and that. And I'm like, well, what's the diagnosis? Have you looked?
Yeah.
Dementia. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Instead of getting offended, please understand what we're doing here. Like, understand the people that we're serving. Like, you have to bend your mind. You know,
that's kind of, it's funny because you say that, like, you're talking about somebody you're working with.
Yeah.
That person that you're talking about, that might be your neighbor. Like, God, I hate my freaking neighbor. But it's like, do you ever take the time to meet that person and understand what they're going through?
And, you know, a lot of the times when it comes down to diagnosis and illness, they are diagnosed and they're ill, they are taking medicine, especially pain, people who are in extreme amount of pain.
Man.
Probably the worst people you can possibly have interactions with. And it's not because of they're not purposely they're not purposely trying to do this. It's just they're irritated, they're tired, and if you're, you know, trying to come out and give them all this extra information, they just want information. Just deal with it directly, and that's that. That's it. Just don't pussyfoot around that. You know what I'm saying? But
and they're there to help the patient. The patient isn't there to help make their job easier.
Exactly.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
And people forget that, though.
They do.
In healthcare,
because that's the entitled.
But at the same time, if you're
it's part of corporate our corporate healthcare system, because it's about, I don't want to say it's about numbers and pushing people through and hurry up and getting through, but like there is a certain component of the corporate world where like you do have to push through. Like, I got to get so much done and get so many people and all that. So there is that component of it, like that you as the employee, you're under stress to meet certain deadlines, certain numbers.
But you can't forget the human aspect.
You cannot forget about the human aspect.
And that's something you have to find that balance. Let's meet our goals, but let's also remember what we're here for.
Yeah.
Why we're doing this, and
it's a tough balance.
Who we're providing care for.
Oh, absolutely. I like to tell a story, but there was a little old man I used to go visit a long time ago when I first started, and he had Alzheimer's. Like, he was as Alzheimer's out as it got. And I would go visit with him, and he would always tell me the same story every time. And he was a spitting image of Burt Lancaster, and and I used to love to go visit this little old man. And he's like, he's like, you want a cigarette? I rolled my own. I was like, yeah, I'll go. I already knew this. I already had like 5. I've already been there 5 times that week to go smoke with him. Roll me a cigarette. He goes, I'll make you one. And we'd go have a smoke, and he'd always show me his wife or his pictures of him when he was younger with his wife. I'd go, man, you look just like Burt Lancaster. You're like his twin brother. And he'd always get a big old smile on his face because, that may not mean anything to you, but Burt Lancaster in his day, he was like a hunk and he was an actor. You know what I mean? So when you tell him that, he was just all happy about it. And he'd always told me how he met his wife. And what's that one pool game where the pockets are smaller? It starts with a P. I don't know. It's like a pool game, but it's got smaller pockets. And
try that one.
And he would always tell me how he met his wife playing the pool, and that he had to make enough money playing that game, like that pool game, to buy his engagement ring for her. And he told me that story every single time. And the reason I got him as a patient is he was Alzheimer's out. It was just one of my employees found him at Jack in the Box. He lived on this side of town at the very bottom of Amador. They found him all the way up at a Jack in the Box like at 1 in the morning. And one of my employees recognized there was something wrong with him.
Oh, man.
And I don't know, they called the police. I don't know how they eventually figured it out, how they took him home. And it was a blessing to talk to him every time. I heard the same stories, but man, it was good. Well, hold on, one more thing about this old man. So I had an employee go take care of him every day, make sure he was taken care of and all that stuff. Every morning he went for a walk. I don't know if I told you this. He went for a walk and he would disappear for about 20, 30 minutes. And he would go down for a walk and come back. So finally one day, like, the employee was like, where's he going? Maybe I should see where he's going in case something happens. And so she followed him when he went for his walk. Well, he lives like 5 minutes from the Masonic cemetery.
Oh, he was going to the cemetery.
He went every day to his wife's cemetery plot. Yeah. Till the day he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of blessings in a lot of these little stuff that we deal with. Like all the stress and staffing patients and all this stuff. You find all these little the little blessings in there,
The human aspect to it, I think, is probably the most rewarding. And that's why I love it. I don't know. Trying to make someone's day better, whether it's your client, whether it's your caregiver, trying to have a little bit of patience and understanding just for a minute, just for someone, and just to let them know, even with an employee, like just trying to be something better than just trying to be better, just trying to be a better human, for God's sake.
I have 2 best friends.
That's really what it comes down to.
That are like in finance.
Yeah.
And they work like in a very corporate world in finance. One's like does accounting and one does like investing. And when we talk about work, I always think about that, like, where's that silver lining for you? One of my friends tells me, like, the monotony of what he does, the accounting, the number, and he's big books, deals with people all over the world that does accounting for this company he works with. And, he says how monotonous it gets and how tiring it is. And and I always try to think in my mind, like, God, what's the silver lining for you? How can I tell you to, like, find that connection? Like, I don't know how to do it for an accountant.
I don't know how to do it for numbers.
Yeah.
I can do it for people. I love people. And I've always just had a thing to try to understand. I've always had this innate need to try to understand people. And people are puzzles, and I love people puzzles.
Yeah.
I may not get it, but I will empathize and I will try to understand.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the core of who I am, really. And I'm just that's the kind of person I am.
I think that's a good message because when you try to, we meet a lot of people. I got an intern.
Oh, yeah.
I got an intern, and I was all excited about getting an intern. I'm like,
an intern.
An intern. We're
gonna haze you. And I'm just.
But it's like, but
no.
in my mind though, I was like trying to think about it. Like, like how you're gonna teach an intern how to do something, right?
Yeah.
Do something work related that they can take to the next job, some sort of experience. But it's like, how do you teach people like to take a moment and have that human experience? Because that's what makes everything you do worthwhile. How do you teach somebody to look for that?
There's things in my mind that I don't think that is possible. Either you are in it, and I think it's like either you have the heart to care for people or you don't.
Yeah.
Either you have the empathy to do it. One big thing for me is what I look for employees is customer service. Mm-hmm. Can you be nice? And it sounds stupid.
No, it's
because can you be nice?
It's weird. Not everybody can be nice. It's so weird.
If your resting face is not a nice, and if you have to force it, it's. I look for that when hiring.
Yeah.
Are you customer service is huge. You don't. Can you just be nice?
It's so weird, right?
It's so basic.
Yeah,
but it's a true thing,
especially in the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
But even when the industry I was in, I could hire somebody to work in my office and answer my phone and do the bookkeeping, but to be nice to the customer.
Yes,
absolutely.
And be accommodating and make sure they got what they needed.
Mm-hmm. How hard is it to teach somebody how to be good to a customer?
It's
so weird.
You're either a person who have it in you. You can't teach customer service.
Dude,
You can't teach it, and it's something that maybe people need to hear. High school people to understand. Mm-hmm. You got to be nice.
Yeah,
I want my kids to work at Scoopies or Kalichi's or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Just because those kids are so nice and they interact. And
they learn it at a young age.
Experience.
Yeah.
I could never talk them into doing it.
It's weird because
that or Chick-fil-A because they have to. There's like a formula, and they've actually kind of. First time I went to a Chick-fil-A. First time was in El Paso before they had the ones here. And I was impressed.
It was always such a treat.
You pull in the line, and it's like, oh my god,
and
we're there forever.
But
and you're like right through it.
If you go inside, they're so nice, and they take the extra minute to be. They say thank you, and they'll take your food.
It's my pleasure, and
I know they take, and it's a part of I think their corporate formula of how they train their employees, which has now become a meme. But in reality, they have it right.
I got that from Starbucks when I was in college. I worked at Starbucks, and Starbucks gets it right as well. Like, the thing with Starbucks, as soon as somebody comes in the store, you greet them. And they want you to learn the customer's name. So the next time Jeanette comes to Starbucks, they'll be like, hey, Jeanette, how you doing? Do you want your double mocha with a one pump of white mocha frappuccino today? And they try to learn that. They ask you, do you want that today? And then when you get good at that and you're like, hey, I know you usually get this. You want to try something different? That's kind of, and so they treat.
It's kind of. They're trying to teach you to. Have that connection and be like, hey, we got something I think you would like.
They do a good job.
A human chatbot.
I used to always try to teach them, treat the customers like your friend.
Yeah.
Treat them like they're someone that you want to talk to them on the phone, and then you want to interact and you want to help them.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not in your area today. We'll be there tomorrow. That's not how you say it. You say, no problem. I'll have somebody in your area tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How you phrase it.
Absolutely. Yes. And I know we all have different backgrounds. We all come from different, everything. But man, I get with employees and I don't know when I started doing this, but where I just kind of I would sit back and listen to employees, the way they talk to each other, the questions they ask, because we've been in the same industry for a long time, and I would just listen to their interactions, and to the phone interactions and all that. Sometimes I go sit at the front desk. I still do that just to listen to how they treat customers, and sometimes I'm left with my head scratching my head, it's like, why did you say that? Or why did you do that? Like, I'm trying to understand it. And then sometimes it's like, wow, that was good. That was really good. Like how intuitive of you to think, to ask this person this question, or to realize that they're in a crisis, or, way to go. But it's just curious once you start listening to employees, and because you want to try to make them better. But like you say, though, you can't teach it. It's like, sometimes I'm just like, why in the hell did you just do it like that? And me being the person I is like, just stop talking and transfer it to my phone. I'll go take. And I try not to do that because you have to let it play out. You have to let them do what they're gonna do. Yeah. And then also look at it instead of and I know what you mean because I do it myself. Yeah. Instead of trying to take it on because you think you can do it better, you have to let them
do it, make the mistake,
Yeah.
and then teach them how to do it better the next time, and have them learn. If you don't make mistakes, you're not going to learn to do it different the next time.
Yeah.
You have to let them make mistakes.
You know, it's
cringy sometimes when you're witnessing, and it's like, it feels like a train wreck. And it might be something small, because in your mind, it's a big deal. In their mind, it's not.
Right,
But
yeah.
in your mind, you're like, oh, hell.
Ugh.
But, okay.
You know, I do that a lot, too, is
you
my
have
family...
to learn how to let them just
Get that customer
learn.
back on the phone and explain to them this.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, my family owns it like a business, right? They make tortillas. They have their little takeout business, and I'll do that when I'm there. Because I don't work there anymore. I don't do anything with them anymore. It's like they run the business. But every now and then, I show up there, and I'll just kind of like I'll get in line, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you come get what you want?" I was like, no. You know, let me pay for. You know, I'm just a customer too, and I don't like the feeling of somebody waiting, and then here comes Mr. Big Shot, walk in, get my burrito, and leave, and these poor people are waiting. I just don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go in there and I'll wait, and I'll order my food or whatever. But I'll sit there and I'll watch the staff working, and my mom, and I'll sit there and watch them, and I'll be like, like, how could I do this better? What would I do better? And so it's not like me pulling an employee or a receptionist or somebody aside. Now it's like the family. It's like, how do you tell the family? They'll be like, you know, you should have you ever thought about doing it this way? And that's such a hard conversation, because the family's like, no, we've always done it that way, da-da. And so
they're all set in their ways.
Oh my God, yeah. And so no, what I do in that situation is I'll be like, I always try to drop little tidbits. It's like, you know what I would have done? I think, you know, it'd be really cool if you did this. And I'll just leave it like that. Like, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Or I saw this at Starbucks. It was kind of cool. And I'll try to drop that same message a couple of times to see if they're picking up on what I'm saying without me actually telling them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they'll be like, this is our business. We're going to do it the way we want to. And we've always done it that way. And blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, that's fine.
When I was young, I used to coach my mom on the phone.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my God, she was just horrible. I was like, Mom, it's about sales. You know, you're trying to get a customer. You're not trying to not get a customer.
Oh, right, because your business started as a family business. Yeah.
I grew up working there.
Oh, yeah. So,
And as I started coming up and doing marketing and sales and so on and so forth,
Yeah.
I would see all this crap going on in the office. And
yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's funny because, like, we're going to the family business. My dad was the hustler, and his customer service, he would be smiles and laughs, and, you know, he could smooth anything over or whatever. But my mother...
That's weird. My parents had like a business for like 5 years.
Uh-huh.
Very small business. It was a burrito place on Missouri. And
I think I know which one it was.
Burritos Are Us. And
Wow.
yeah, my
Wow.
parents had that. And it was my
next
dad's.
to the pizza place?
Yeah, my
Okay.
dad.
It's
it was
that
my
funny
dad's
building,
dream.
right?
Yeah, it was my dad's dream. He always wanted to do this. But what ended up happening is, of course, at that time, he had to wrangle in my mom. And my mom was not happy about it. She was like, she gets so annoyed. I would help them on the weekends. And I would man the window. And of course, my first job, I started working at 15.
I may have seen
Queen,
you there.
At a Dairy
Oh my
Queen.
God.
At a Dairy Queen. So on the weekends, I would go help them because they were just so burnt out. And I was like, yeah, I'll go work.
Family
And
businesses are
family
tough.
businesses, because it's like
They're tough.
you didn't have the intention of being there, but because like they're your parents and you see that they need help, you want to help them, so you do it. And you'll sacrifice your weekends to do it. And I remember my mom, she was just like, she hated working the window. And for me, it's very natural. I can be nice. Okay, well, yeah, go ahead and pull around. I'll have your total at the window and blah, blah, blah. I've done it for years. That was like my first job, working at a Dairy Queen. You know, I was always, you know, they said at that time, be nice.
Right.
I took it to heart. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be nice. And that was how it started.
Were you
Someone said be nice.
Were you the girl in the drive-thru that you'd hand them the drink and you'd hold the customer's hand a little too long? It's like, I think vibing
God,
on me.
I think we like each other.
I think we're making a connection.
I think we're together now.
So that's a thing. That is a thing.
It is not.
No,
I had
this
so
is a
many
thing.
relationships in one day.
I remember that.
No, like
you were special.
when I was young and I was working I was working at Starbucks because I was a young man. I knew if there was a cute lady I liked that would come through constantly.
Oh, you would touch her hand?
I would do that thing where I would reach out or I'd take their money and I would hold their hand for a second.
Jesus.
And we would I totally knew how to do that. So before you knew it, we would be chatting it up and be like, hey, maybe sometime we can go out and grab a drink.
Hey, girl.
Like, no, I totally worked when I was at that age going through that.
So silly.
I totally worked that angle. And that's why I say it's a thing and it works.
When you're young, you get hit on all the time. When you're a young person working at a drive-thru, I don't know, because it was like in Tier C. So during the summer, you have all these college kids going to the lake. Huh?
The guy who owned the Dairy Queen in Tier C?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a jerk. I can't remember,
okay.
but I've been there fixing stuff.
Oh.
Go use the...
Yeah, go ahead.
So funny. Oh my God.
Oh, that's so hilarious.
But yeah, like I was always getting hit on and
okay, we'll do a game off real fast.
Game off.
And then we'll come back and we'll
but
find a good point to wrap up.
my parents had the burritos are roasted.
I may have seen you there before.
Yeah.
Because I'd gone there, not a lot, but I've been there a couple times.
Oh, my dad he loved being back there, but my mom she hated it. Oh my gosh, she hated it.
My mom
hated it.
My mother liked the idea of the family business.
Yeah?
What the hell? I'll keep on going. What the hell? My mother liked the idea of a family business. And my dad grew up in a family business. So he always told her, it's a lot of work.
It is.
And the whole concept of you don't own a business. A business owns you.
You have to be there.
And so
in order for it to work, you have to be there. You have to be present.
Right. So when they moved, he always made that. When they moved and they were trying to get started and all that, he told her, it's not easy. It's going to be hard. And we're not going to have a lot of nice things for a while. She had a hard time with that initially. Yeah. She had a really hard time with that initially. Especially, so like when you start a business, I mean, unless it's like a unique business, when you start a business, your first year, your first couple of years, it's like you don't make any money.
Oh, yeah. They didn't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. They only lasted 5 years because they were so afraid of failing. They didn't want to lose out. So before things started to get bad for them, they pulled out. And it could have possibly worked. But then, of course, COVID, and maybe it didn't. Maybe they pulled out right when they should have.
Right when they should have.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, you never really know. But I also think that
family businesses are just tough. That's the only thing I can say about.
And then they get everyone involved.
You're gonna have to watch that one right there.
I'm gonna go to the girls' room too, but no, they get everyone involved.
It's a super challenge because
if you're an adult.
There's no toilet paper.
Oh, okay.
Let me go grab some.
So you're gonna end up moist.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I know, right? Like I have almost all the accommodations for this.
There. I'll take some.
I know, like we have almost all the accommodations here. Guys, I am only one man. I can only do so much, guys.
God damn it.
It's like Mark cannot do everything.
I feel like I'm camping.
I like to think in 10 years I'm gonna have a nice studio with private restrooms, and it's gonna have like a commode in there that's velvet lined, and waitresses and little skirts, and I mean, is that too much to ask for? No. Like a studio where you have girls dressed in their little Hooter uniforms serving us and all that. I mean, well.
Just a studio.
Yeah, no, we'll wrap this up here in a second. But we were just talking about how hard family businesses are, and
it's worse now.
Is it worse now?
Oh my God, it's horrible. I mean,
really?
On top of that, you're like her parents had their own business.
Yeah.
Well, now there's all the bookkeeping involved. You just can't be a guy who's making burritos and have a little store and paying rent and paying all your bills. Now you've got to be a friggin' accountant too.
Yeah.
And now you've got to deal with all the the labor laws and the food laws and all the regulations, and you almost have to be an attorney, or you're paying people to do that for you.
And you have to make enough money to pay the people to do that.
You're no longer in the back making burritos.
Yeah.
You're in the office
typing away.
Now you're doing marketing, and you're doing this and that and the other, and
how does somebody just make it anymore like they used to in the old days?
They don't. They do like me. They fucking sell it because they can't stand it anymore, because they don't get out and do what they enjoy to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I love to get out with the customers and interact and be in the office, answer the phone. I loved answering the phone.
You know, I would tell my managers, like, I guess as a good boss, at a director level, right? You know, you want your people to just put out, and always go. But I remember with some of my managers, I had to finally tell them, like, look, there comes a point when you have to understand your work is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be here tomorrow. And no matter...
Just to turn you down.
Turn you down just a little bit? Okay. And no matter what you do, you're never going to get ahead of it. So you have to be content with where you're at today. Relax this weekend. And just know it's going to be here on Monday when you get back. And just trying to get them to ease off just enough so that they don't get burned out.
Yeah.
And trying to help people. I found that I would always try to get my managers to try to like to find that balance.
I always worked hard. If I had questions or stuff, I tried to never call guys after hours or on the weekend, because that's their time. And
oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think about that. I think about that with a family business though. Like, what is it going to take now? Like my dad, life saving, sold his house, got everything he needed, bought the oven, started making tortillas, rented the building. We all worked there. Like, can somebody still do that now, or like what's involved with it? You know,
it's hard. It's hard.
I don't know.
Now, who runs the office? Who does the bookkeeping for
my sister does.
Okay, so your mom's got your sister doing the bookkeeping.
Yeah, which
and paying the bills and taking care of the employees.
I'm assuming.
But you know what I mean? But could your mom still be doing all that on her own?
Well, see, my brother runs the business now. She runs the food part, and so my father, and there's probably a lot of people that can relate to this. Like my father, he would get there, or he'd work Monday through Friday, whatever, and then on Saturday and Sunday he'd be at home, do a little bit of gardening, then he'd go to his desk and do his bookkeeping all weekend. Did everything, paid the bills, everything. Tell my mom, here's the drop you off at the post office, start all over on Monday, and the business really ran him for when he was an old man, he was like 80, 85. He's still going to the shop, going to make donuts at 3 a.m. I was still going.
You were working there
a long time. Well after I met you.
Yeah, I know you were.
And
you were still doing weekends and mornings.
If I was working late, or if I was out partying late, or I was doing, anything I was doing was going to prevent me from going to go work with my dad in the morning, I would just go to the tortilla shop, park my car under a light or something, and fall asleep there, and he'd come wake me up, just so I knew I would get there. Because I'm the notorious guy that burns the candle on both ends.
No.
Yeah.
No way, not you. Right? No.
So I wasn't going as much, but once it dawned on me that my father was getting old, and that like for him to pick up the heavy stuff to do what he was doing, I got to the point where I was like kind of just there helping him. And then once he passed away, and I knew the brother was going to run the business, and the mom was going to do her part there, and all that. That's kind of when I was like, it's their moment. It's my brother's moment. That's his, now. And he was telling me his sales number. He goes, hey, we finally hit these sales numbers. And I was like, that's good, right on. I wasn't going to be there and be like, here's my sales numbers.
No, I mean,
I was like, but I was like, good for you. That's good. Good. I'm glad. It's his moment. He's doing it, and he's running it like my dad did, and that's fine. Which I think I would do it differently, but why cause problems?
That's right.
Just let them do it and let them be happy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So
just keeping the doors open and paying them, and
mom's still working.
Your mom's happy. Yeah.
So the lesson is the lesson is, I think we made a lot of different things here. A couple of lessons take away from all this. A, don't forget the humanity in it, right?
Yes, exactly.
The human touch. B, if you're going to run your own business, be ready to be ran ragged.
Yep.
I think
That's true.
That's true.
You have to put all your
everything.
Your all.
You put all your eggs in one basket.
Yep.
If you're going to do it,
you have to.
If you don't go all in,
100%,
yeah, you have to take the risk. And was there another lesson there? No, I think that was it. Yeah, just go all in. My buddy Alonso, when I met him and we would talk, he gives you like life advice. And when I was going through my transition,
yeah,
and one thing he says, he goes,
Which transition is this?
It's when I was my name was Martha.
Oh, okay, that transition.
Do you remember Martha?
This long hair, beautiful hair. It was no. It was work transitions, and he says, "Don't worry about a thing." I was like, and he could see I was stressing. He goes, "Don't worry." He goes, "Money's a funny thing." He goes, "It comes and goes." He goes, "You make a lot of money today. You lose it all tomorrow, you'll make it back the next day." He goes, "Everything will be okay." And when he told me that, I don't know, something about the way he told it to me, it was just like, it was so reassuring. I was like, okay, you're right. And it's really, life has literally been exactly the way he said it. He said, "Don't worry about it. You're gonna lose a lot of money, but you'll make it back. You'll make more. You're gonna lose that too, but don't worry. It's always going to come back." And so I've always had that mentality.
Yeah.
And you know what other thing he told me too at that time? Because when I was going through my transition, like an employment transition, he was like, when I first met Alonzo, he's a really good guy. He says, "You're wound up really tight." And I was like, because I didn't think I was, but he goes, "You're wound up really tight." He goes, "Don't forget to stop, have a drink with somebody and relax." He says, "Go," and he told me this. He goes, "Go out every week and have a drink with somebody." He goes, matter of fact, he goes, "You're so wound up, you're even stuck up a little bit." And I was like,
wow.
No, yeah. He told me, he goes, "You know what? If somebody wants to have a drink with you, and it's somebody that you think, I'm never going to have a drink with that person because that's a weirdo," he says, "go hang out with that person and have a drink with them. That's what you need."
And that's how Mark and I became friends.
Very good advice that I took to heart, and I hope to have Alonzo on soon. We were talking about it. He's a fun guy, but
he's cool. I like
really
him.
good advice. I think that's probably a good place to end it at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's
Don't lose humanity. America is and I've heard this from you. If you meet people from abroad, they always say this. In America, you drive. It's non-stop.
It is.
We do.
It feels that way.
And they tell.
But it's only up to us to stop, though.
But they tell you, in America, you have a lot of things, but you work and you drive so much. And it's true. And I think what we're saying here is like, I don't think that's going to change for us. But don't forget to make those human connections in there, too. You know what I mean? And I think that's just really important in every day. So, anyways, anything else, Dad, man?
Good.
That's good. It was a good day. Thanks for coming,
good.
guys. Yeah, it was good, man. I like our new set. Mark just came in and he just made some changes, and man, I'm really thankful for it.
I just help you move stuff around.
Yeah, eventually this is going to be like a real studio. Jeez.
I really like it. I like this.
It's coming along. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah.
You need to get a hat for him. And
I need something like this guy here, like how it's on the helmet there. I need one for that. It's funny because the pickle helm and the doughboy helmet, those are from the same era, the same war. Yeah.
Just opposing ends.
Oh, I know that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, I'll get to it. Everything's coming together a little at a time, and this has been a fun thing to do. And one day we'll make money off it and be like, "Hey guys, we're all going to Hawaii."
Oh, look at that.
I know, right?
One day.
Maybe
hopefully.
one day.
We've got to want to lay you.
Whoa.
The island.
That's right. Got to one Leia. Yeah, I'm there.
Show me your chi-chis.
You know what? I'm going to go there. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody. Yeah, you guys have a good weekend.
All right.
Thank you.
Fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.